And a great big hey howdy hey to all my goofy goopers out there. Welcome back to Animanic with Kamikaze.
And Disney Fanatic 2364. Bonjour, everyone.
Bonjour. And hello to everyone, because tonight we're doing a double feature of Howard Ashman's musicals that he basically made for Disney. And basically truly brought the Disney Renaissance to what it is known as today. Now, because we're going to be doing two new movies tonight, we're going to go ahead and go over our thoughts over both movies, starting with The Little Mermaid. So, honey, what are your feelings on The Little Mermaid?
It's been one of my favorites for a very long time. And Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast have kind of been competing for the number one spot for a very long time. Let's just put it that way. It's like, oh, I love this, but I also love this. And I also love this, and I also love this. I loved Ariel. I loved the animated spin-off series. I think it's one of the best Disney has done, and it's just even if the sequels aren't the best, anything with Jodie Besson's Ariel in it, it was awesome. And
yeah,
the songs are great, and I think it's the first. It's when Disney was starting to really put some more thought into their female characters. I mean. Mm-hmm. While Ariel's probably not perfect, she wasn't helpless. She made a lot of her own decisions, albeit not the best decisions, but she had a mind of her own, and that was something that needed to be done, and it helped them with shaping their heroines going forward in the Renaissance and in the modern age.
I definitely believe that's the case. Ariel's spunk is a far cry different from. God, what was their last Disney princess since this movie? Like
Sleeping Beauty, who slept through
most
of her movie.
She was a passive protagonist who slept through most of her movie. And yeah, so it's like
I mean, we already talked about that whole thing. But
yeah, we did, and the
last time we had a Disney princess who just was actively going after what she wanted was, I'd say, Cinderella.
Absolutely Cinderella. Yeah. But in terms of active Disney princesses who absolutely make choices for themselves, I'd say Ariel definitely fits the bill. I think she's a great character. I love her spunk, and there's a lot that I love about her animation that I'll get into when we get to the part where she doesn't have a voice, because there's some very interesting trivia I want to share about that I learned that really characterizes her almost differently, but also gives a further depth to her than the dialogue necessarily allows the whole time, It kind of gets across certain emotions and a vibe of Ariel that's completely different. That some debate about whether or not her choices she makes are smart. Well, yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
We'll get it. There's definitely there's a lot of criticism in this movie, especially from feminists and all that.
Yes,
and I'm gonna go with the queer coding of this movie. Which
definitely.
It's thanks to Howard Ashman and the original author Hans Christian Andersen.
Yes, and the musical numbers are great. All of the side characters, and Prince Eric, again, since our last Disney movie was Prince Philip, at least matches Prince Philip for the amount of personality he has, which Prince Philip was a character. He didn't say a lot, but the things he did say and the animation on him was fun, and I think Eric is very similar, but he gets a lot more dialogue, and I feel like that helps, flesh him out a lot more. He's very he's very young and bright-eyed, but also got a bit of a devil-may-care attitude, and I kind of like that about Eric.
Yeah.
And if we're on the topic of proactive Disney princesses, I think we'd be remiss to not talk about now Beauty and the Beast. Your thoughts, honey?
Mm-hmm. Well, Belle was pretty much me growing up as a teenager. I loved to read. Nobody understood me. I was always flirted with by these guys. Well, everyone said they were handsome. I didn't get it. They were just totally... Oh boy, their pickup lines were the worst. And then my friends are like, well, why did you say no to him? Like, you really say yes to creeps like that? I just don't like him.
Honestly.
And this was before I realized I was asexual. Yeah, let's just say they weren't you, honey. They really weren't you.
Definitely not. And again, this is another movie that kind of gets feminists feminists in a bit of a bunch just because of the
It's
Stockholm
kind of torn.
syndrome thing, which I'm gonna address that personally as we go
And you know,
along.
Emma Watson. I know. Look, I know you don't like the live action remake, but the way Emma Watson explained it, and she knew there would be concerns about it too. So she did her own research, and she said, "Well, I believe there's a point in the film where Belle makes the decision to stay,
Yeah.
And for it to be Stockholm Syndrome, he'd have to totally isolate her. Now, if we're talking about the original fairy tale, maybe that would have been more Stockholm Syndrome-ish, but...
Almost deliberately, because the original fairy tale was written for young girls to become more accustomed to the idea of their arranged marriages. They may seem like beasts, but you may get to know them better. It's like that, because like there was a cultural reason at the time why the story was written the way it was, even if it doesn't really hold up under today's scrutiny.
Yeah, specifically, Madame de Beaumont, she was showing it so girls can at least find some agency in their arranged marriages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like...
Which was feminist for the time, I will say.
Yep.
For the time.
And by proxy, I think Disney's movie, like, was legitimately feminist for the time, and still is.
Yeah.
And
the late 80s and early 90s were a very interesting time for the moments of being inclusive and on all parts. It was an interesting time.
It was very interesting. Yes, interesting is the right word for it. But like, yeah, and again, like with Little Mermaid, I personally think Belle's great. The side characters are great. And honestly, I'm not sure, but like I think Gaston has more presence, but I like Ursula's personality better. I mean, it's not like we're comparing the two, but I just wanted to point that out. I was like, Ursula doesn't show up in a lot of scenes.
They both work for the kind of stories they're in.
Absolutely, but I really love Ursula's attitude. She's just so sassy.
I just realized this is my first time watching this movie since the death of Pat Carroll and of Samuel E. Wright. Half the people in this movie are dead.
Oh, no.
And it'll be my first time watching Beauty and the Beast since the death of Angela Lansbury. Oh my god.
Oh, man. And then Jerry Orbach and David Ogden Stiers as well.
Jerry Orbach's been gone for a while.
Yeah. But, God. Man. You don't know what you got till they're gone.
Even the guy who sings Les Poissons has recently passed away.
Oh, God. All right, well, without further ado, I think we ought to waste no time. Everyone on Disney Plus is going to have the modern 2006 Disney logo, so everybody skip that and sync it up with the visuals appropriately as we pass the proper 90s logo, or I guess 80s, because this movie was released in 89, but it was more prominently used throughout the 80s, so that's where I'm most associated with. So everybody get your copies ready, and we're going to sync now in 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm probably gonna make references to the live action, but I know you haven't seen that one.
I haven't seen that one yet, yeah.
And I'll say it right out the bat. At least in terms of casting, they did not do wrong with Ariel and Ursula.
No, definitely not. I think Melissa McCarthy was probably a good choice.
She killed it, actually. Even her singing, and she's never sung before, was really good.
That's a testament to skill. Ah, God, this song. See, you can't precede this with the modern Disney logo because it's too damn long. I feel like with the classic one, you know, it feels it feels cohesive. Ooh, CGI on the boat there? Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the last Disney movie we'll have that uses ink and paint.
Ink and celluloid, that's right. These are our last ink and paints. I think I saw some celluloid drop shadow on the dolphin. Not a lot. But
now, I am glad that they extend this song in the Broadway and in the live-action remake.
I mean, this is this movie's, like, Frozen Heart, or, like, Circle of Life. It's the moment where we establish the tone of the movie.
And there are deleted lyrics which talks about King Triton and how Ursula was his sister. I wish they'd kept that in. I mean, they used the whole sister angle in the Broadway and the live-action remake. I wish they'd kept it in this movie because that explains so much.
It really does. But I think plenty of people have probably associated that idea. Also, Grimsby
and it would get rid of all the Ursula being flirty with Ariel. She's her aunt, people!
Cellular drop shadow on Grimsby. Also, whatever you're watching on Disney Plus, guys, is probably like an HD rip, like probably the most recent Blu-ray edition of The Little Mermaid. So you're going to be seeing this very clean.
The voice of Eric was only 16 when he recorded his lines? Huh.
So in other words, Ariel and Eric were 16? Well, I guess Jodie Benson wasn't like 16 when she recorded.
She was like 28 or something. Well, I guess that explains how he was able to voice the prince from Cinderella in the sequels.
He's a great voice. What a gorgeous friggin' way to bring in the title with the ripple.
Yes.
And associate with Screen Partners.
At this point, they're like, you know what? We can be cinematic.
Buddy Hackett, Renee Abjanero, Jodie Benson, Pat Carroll, Samuel E. Wright,
and Samuel E. Wright of No Relation. Yeah,
of
Ben
no
Wright, you remember. There we go. Howard Ashman, Alan Menken. And I love the way they transition because we go from whales and fish to, and then boom, there's someone with a people top.
Now that is just beautiful in the way they're capturing the silhouette, and they're really keeping them in shadow for quite a long time.
This movie also brought animation back into the Oscar world.
The flare on the camera and the sparkling of Atlantica, that's just... Also, we don't get the name of the kingdom. Atlantica mostly comes from the TV series and sequels.
And John Rusker and Ron Clements directing
Musker
again.
And Clements together again. Also keep an eye out. In a moment, in the background art, Mickey, Donald, Goofy, and Kermit the Frog are in the audience.
I don't remember Kermit the Frog.
He's separate from Mickey, Donald, and Goofy, but like he's in there. He's in the painted background.
And Kenneth Mars also passed away. Squint.
Oof. Yeah, that's easy.
I always try to catch it, but I never can.
It's easy to miss. You kind of gotta pause for it, which, well, we can't.
Okay.
I love this little seahorse. I was trying to tell you,
we'll get to Ben Wright when we get back to Grimsby.
Yeah.
Samuel E. Wright, God rest his soul. Yeah, like, no offense to that Hamilton guy. I forget his name. I'm sorry. There's really nobody else for Sebastian. No, not Lin-Manuel Miranda. The guy who played Jefferson plays Sebastian
that's right.
in the live
action.
The
guy who plays Jefferson. That's right.
But this is Sebastian.
I love that. Sebastian. Love the whole being upside down. Just
Kenneth Mars too are really.
Now,
and here's the thing. I didn't really like the King Triton they had in the live action version. He didn't feel like he had the right amount of warmth and sternness. You know what I mean?
Even right here, there's a lot of warmth and like love for his daughter. Cellular drop shadow on Sebastian. And I want to point out with like his dialogue before, you may have noticed with his dialogue, guys, that he has this very distinguished way of speaking, and I feel like a lot of modern interpretations of Sebastian, the live-action movie, but also his dialogue in the Dark Ride at Disneyland and Disney World, just completely, undercuts the fact that Sebastian was originally written as British. Love the shading on Triton back there. This was
they're all A names.
Yep.
And this movie might be the reason I mostly like A names.
Yep. Seven Sisters for the Seven Seas. Like that's, yeah.
They put more emphasis on that in the live action film.
Yeah, but I mean, like when you know the association, Triton's the ruler of the sea. He has 7 daughters. It's very obvious. Also, absolutely. But like back to Sebastian, like his dialogue is so distinguished because he was originally written as British, but Howard Ashman wanted to write a Calypso number, and he wrote it for Sebastian. So they gave him a Jamaican voice actor, Jamaican accent, but he still speaks in a distinguished British type way in that Jamaican accent. I think the juxtaposition is not only funny, but I think it's also like
the
very
actor
unique
himself
of a character.
Was not actually Jamaican either.
Oh, that's right. That's
in fact, he reported his accent was a little bit off.
But I feel like it works like as a hybrid of British and like Jamaican that makes it so silly.
I love her sass.
But like a lot of the modern voices of Sebastian, like even on the Dark Ride, like they just go for full Jamaican and they don't even bother to be even a little bit British. It's like...
Could you imagine if they'd gone with the original idea of having Ariel be blonde?
Oh, that would have been so weird. Like, just the color.
Yeah.
Like, because the thing is, you go over a bunch of different color tests for the character to see what works. And so they obviously landed on this red, green, and purple, which are great colors to put together. They're just beautiful.
Yeah, and you know, the shading works better with red hair.
Love the skeleton there.
I imagine the blonde would, like, her hair would have looked like Flounder there. It wouldn't have worked.
Yeah. They would have blended together too much. Love it's kind of a deep color right now just because they're in the dark, but I love the coral color of her little handbag there.
Now, one thing I didn't like about the live action is that when she finds the fork, she's like, "That's the tiniest trident I've ever seen." I'm like, yeah, right. Wouldn't she seen it as a tiny trident?
That does make some sense. But here's something I really love. The movie is so bright and colorful. Cellular drop shadow on Flounder there. But like, love this whole chase and the shark, this giant fucking behemoth. It's so funny with his little head and his tiny little head.
Next time you say Ariel's a damsel. Okay, but you know what? That does say some stuff about her character. That sometimes she doesn't really think about her self-preservation.
Well, the thing is, like, Flounder
went back for the bag.
Well,
she went back for the bag. And with the shark after it. Like, it tells you a lot about her character already. Like, that she doesn't always think.
Foreshadowing sometimes is fairly obvious. She goes and saves her best friend there. Like, look at that.
Yeah.
And
no one talks about Ariel. She defeated a shark in like the first 5 minutes.
And like, so smart. She was like, and just wait for it. You could see the gears in her head turning when she was doing that there, and like, stick his head in there. And here's Buddy Hackett, God rest his soul.
He at least made it to the second movie to reprise his role.
That's true.
Now, this shot doesn't make much sense, because look at how close she is. There wouldn't be that much water there.
It's a friggin' cartoon gag.
I know.
Like, you don't rag on that too much. But yeah, look at how colorful we are now in comparison to the dingy, sunken ship. It's that kind of change in color palette that really keeps the film very beautiful.
Okay, and you know, I when I was like in middle school or something, the boys were making fun of me for liking The Little Mermaid, and they're like, "You know, she's practically naked, right?" They were meanos. Okay, they're under the water. They're not going to be wearing much clothes. It's gonna, just saying.
I mean, what are they going to make clothes out of? Like, that would be good underwater. That wouldn't just be sticking to you constantly.
They didn't give her a shell bra in the live action. Well, it wasn't a revealing thing. It just didn't work in the live version.
Yeah. I love the way he
cleans it out. So that's more of a bralette. I can tell you that the snarf blad is not included in the live action because, you know, smoking.
Disappointing. Very, very disappointing. Just...
I forget what I think it was a corkscrew that instead... Yeah, Ariel, she fits as a teenager.
Yes.
She's 16-year-old. She's a bit... She's a rebel.
She's a bit of a scatterbrain.
She promised her parents.
Like,
she's not a perfect character, but, you know, we don't need her to be perfect.
Yeah, I feel like that was the problem with the live-action Pinocchio. Like, you don't need the character to be perfect. That's the whole point.
Especially with Pinocchio.
God. Here we go.
Yeah, this was like Pat Carroll's dream to voice a Disney character.
Yeah.
And when she got the call, she was like, "Really?"
Love the way they're keeping her in shadow here.
See, like that's the only implication that you get that she's Triton's sister.
She could just be a duchess from another, like,
I'm sorry, Ursula, you do not look like you're starving. I'm sorry. I'm just saying.
Well, we'll get there later. Love the animation on the tentacles.
That might be why they cut out the starving line in the live action. It's like, I mean, I mean, she's banished to exile. She doesn't say starving because she's not starving.
God, those eyes. And now the first moment that Ariel gets chewed out.
Yeah. You know, people give King Triton a lot of flack, but...
And look at this whole sequence here. He's... like, Sebastian is more angry than Triton is here. Triton is not mad, he's
but,
just...
you know, Triton does have every right to be angry, though.
Yeah, he has every right to be angry,
moment.
but, like, Triton's not mad, just disappointed. Sebastian's more angry. And then the whole...
Yes, like,
and then
a whole celebration, like you said you were going to show up, and you didn't. You ruined it for your sisters as well. Here.
And then the bird face when he says seagull, and now he's mad. Ariel's like, why'd you say that? Oh, God.
You realize he didn't bat an eye at the shark thing.
Sharks are probably very common.
You know, even not knowing what happened to his mom, what happened to her mom. Like, you are technically a child, though, Ariel.
You are. You're his child. You're underage.
Yeah. Now, whereas Mother Gothel was keeping Rapunzel locked up because she didn't want to lose the magic hair stuff, he legitimately is just worried about Ariel.
Yeah.
For good reason.
Like, for people who criticize King Triton for being too hard on her, listen to this.
Look,
listen to this.
In this moment.
It's like everybody
It's
like just
I felt like this is what was missing for the live action.
Everyone tunes out whenever Triton is remotely kind and think that he just has this out of nowhere turn by the end of the movie. But it's like, that's not true.
Also, Kenneth Mars just having that fatherly voice.
Yeah.
There's a reason he was chosen for the grandfather in the Land Before Time series.
I mean, you gave him the idea. I love how Sebastian really looked like a Muppet there. He was very
and you know, if you watch the
you
watch the TV show spin-off, you see a lot more into the relationship between Ariel and Triton.
Well, yeah.
There was even a moment where Ariel did get in trouble, and then Triton brings her home like, look, I tried to tell you, yes, Daddy, you were right. You hear that, Sebastian? I'm right. That's probably one of the best parts about the animated series, the TV series.
Squad. But yeah.
You know what? Going also into King Triton. It's what something people don't realize about this movie. It's not so much a romance. It's a story about father-daughter acceptance.
That is true. Like, it's about, like, you have
I think the live action kind of missed the mark on that one. I don't know whether it was the performance of King Triton or what, but
yeah, because like Triton is a very important character here, and Ariel's moment to really let it out and how she really feels about this whole situation.
Sorry, my dad was yelling down at me. Speaking of which, really at the best part. Can you believe Jeffrey Katzenberg wanted to cut this out?
I can, because Katzenberg's an idiot.
I'm like, you're kidding me. It's the most iconic part of this movie.
It's not just iconic. We had our opening number, and then we had, like, an ancillary number to help, you know, introduce our real main character, but then, oh, plot twist, she's not here. And this is the pinnacle moment of any first act in a musical. It's the I Want song. It's the moment where the character just literally sings off in the middle distance about everything that they've ever wanted.
And you notice, it's not romance she's initially dreaming about.
No.
She does not feel comfortable in her own skin, and she wants to learn about the world above.
Yep.
Which is a lot of queer coding in this song.
Yeah.
Thank you, Howard Ashman.
Yep.
Was an openly gay man himself.
Yep.
Well, openly to his people, but notice how it's convenient left out of bonus features.
Yeah. Up until, like, the documentary, like, Howard?
Yeah.
Like, you can find that on Disney Plus.
Oh God, yeah. And also the Waking Sleeping Beauty made me cry once we got to Howard Ashman's death.
Yeah. This is a great moment when
Like,
Flounder buries himself in the sand there.
I will say, Halle Bailey, she really... The live-action version of this song is actually really well done.
Like singing or like visuals? Because
Singing and cinematically, it's really well done. I ended up crying.
Honestly, yeah, I wouldn't know from the cinematics, but this thing, like the eyebrow raise on Bright Young Women, is like, that's the thing. Like, animation really put that face on her. It's like everything just and reaching out through the hole in her grotto past coral. It's like,
yeah, and she can't go any further. The live action version had like a 1 second shot of just on her hand reaching out of the ocean floor.
I think I do.
And it can't go any further. And I'm like, that was a very good directorial choice.
I don't know. I feel like having it on her face the whole time really helps. And then you're holding on that shot, and then the wince when she pulls back. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
You really feel.
And when we do get the wince, we also get like 1 second shot of her hand reaching out, and then it closes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sebastian is one of the more interesting sidekicks because he actually opposes a lot of her decisions.
He really does.
He's the oppositional character.
Yep.
You know.
He's just absolutely losing his shit. Again,
Sebastian
is more frustrated than, like, friggin' Triton is. Then again, Triton hasn't seen the Hobble
Samuel E. Wright managed
yet.
to reprise his role up to the point of his death for like, everything.
Yeah.
In the TV series, the sequels, that rock was closed. No, and Sebastian did not open it.
No, he didn't. Very pretty fireworks. That effect, of course, being created by, like, overexposing, like, the lights of, like, specifically the animated assets, like pouring lights, like, there's a layering effect that they use, in order to get the flare of stuff like
Okay, I see people here refuse to see remake. At least see the Disney Vivo video of Part of Your World, if you're gonna see any of it.
Love the Jolly Sailors here. Really, it really buries the lead on what they're celebrating. Yeah. It's like, which is great. It's like there's that whole build up, but of course, we recognize the dog.
Yeah, and
something
I found interesting about Eric is that he's a people prince. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, I do.
He's a prince, but he hangs out with he works with the crew. He doesn't just like stay in the deck and enjoying a cocktail.
Yeah.
You know what?
Like you said, the salty sea air and the wind on your face.
No, they kind of do it here too. She starts with just seeing his feet.
And of course, Max is her first actual interaction of the surface minus, well, Scuttle, of course.
Scuttle. Yeah.
The smears on his pupils are great. Oh, shut your ass.
I will say that her falling in love with him is pretty fast. She's 16. Yeah. This is like the first crush thing. I always love that.
Because, I mean, it's making music. What else would she assume it was?
Ben Wright is Grimsby there. You know him as Roger from 101 Dalmatians. And this was apparently his very last role.
Yeah.
Oh, and fun fact, the Disney people, when he auditioned for this role, they didn't even know that he had been in 101 Dalmatians. By then, it's like 20 years later, he got a whole different crew.
Even friggin' Max doesn't like it.
Yeah. Now this is a reference to in the original story.
I love this moment.
In the Little Mermaid, she found a statue of a human. And actually, she found the statue first, and then she found the prince who looked a lot like the statue, and that's why she fell in love with him.
Also,
it's kind of reverse.
Getting this out of the way here, it's like Grimsby very much feels like in the dialogue and like purpose here as like the Sultan to Jasmine. It's like I'm not going to be around forever to have. We're all not going to be around forever, and we need you to be settled down and happy and secure in the kingdom. A queen for you.
Yeah, they say Ariel's too young. Actually, it's been confirmed that Eric's age is 18. So, bearing in mind this is also takes place in the way past.
Look, we're not gonna get. We're not gonna get into that. We're not gonna. It's
one of the smaller age gaps. It's a smaller age gap than Aladdin and Jasmine.
We're not. Like, we get into that nonsense, we'll be having infighting like just the whole time. Yep.
They did add more to Eric in the live action remake. I will say that. Actually gets a song in the live action remake.
The ship, the stern.
It's very interesting. Prince Eric is one of the few Disney princes who sings, at least in the original movie he appeared in. He doesn't sing. He doesn't sing. I mean,
yeah.
Did I say he actually sings? Sorry.
And here we go. Disaster hath struck.
Yeah, because even the 3 princes that came before him all sang at some point.
Ooh, right at the rocks, and oh boy.
Yeah, they did try to go through an effort to make Eric a bit less generic than the first 3 guys.
Look at him go. Like, there he goes.
And this you gotta admire Eric for. And this Ariel sees as well, that he goes back for the dog.
He goes back for the dog.
It's like Ariel goes back for Flounder.
Yeah. Hey, parallels.
Their adventure. I guess like the live action puts more of an emphasis in it. It's more subtle here, but
well, I want to stop talking about the live action version if we can help it, because it's just
okay. Fine, fine.
Because again, I don't have a frame of reference.
They both love their. Flounder's not a pet, but
this is Animanic. Ah, shit. That's a real like quick moment there. Now, if you guys in the chat want to keep talking about it, like, go ahead.
What was the meme I saw where, like, the modern Disney ladies were like, I don't need a man to save me. And then Ariel's like, but I saved Eric.
Yeah, also, really...
the way she saves him, too, is also pretty accurate now that I've had lifeguard training. She goes under the arms, and it goes behind him and goes under the arms. Bear in mind, she doesn't have legs and doesn't have a rescue tube, so the way she's rescued him is pretty much how it would work with a mermaid, I think.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if that sounds silly.
I love the peeling back of his eyelids. But I think in that kind of, romantic comedy kind of way, or like in any romantic story where you gotta, like, set up your couple early on, the whole idea of, like, Ariel saving Flounder and Eric saving Max being parallels to each other kind of helps, like, give the audience way to, like, oh, sure, the romance may seem kind of quick, but they really do feel like they're so in sync,
She's much more of a creeper in the original story.
In the original story, yeah. Cellular drop shadow on Sebastian there, and also on Scuttle. That's a great animation. And the way the light peeks through the clouds, and the flare. Yeah. God, that's so pretty.
People say, like, how can you not tell it's that girl? Like, did you forget the sun shining shooting into her face?
Shining in his face, and he's just opening his eyes from having been unconscious all night. And the seawater.
Almost drowned, too.
The seawater, like, imagine the salt that's also kind of stinging a bit. But then he's just kind of, he's riding a bit of a high right now.
Yeah, and when you're drowning, it cuts off the oxygen to your brain.
Like Grimsby just said.
That's probably why Grimsby's like that.
Yeah, you think you're a little out of it right now.
Here we go. Okay, yeah, she was...
Love that line. Love that whole bit there.
And the way they animate her hair, too.
After it's
always
like
loved
spent
Ariel's
some time
hair.
drying out.
Never mind, it's red. Just the way it moves.
It's so, again, like, why would they give her orange hair when they could give her this striking, bright red, unnaturally red hair? Which, honestly, looks like some seaweed varieties. It honestly works perfectly in, like...
Okay, to be fair, it had to do it in a way that worked with Halle Berry's appearance, too.
Yeah. Halle Bailey, not Halle Berry.
That's what I said, Barry. No, it's Barry or Bailey. I don't know.
Halle Berry was Catwoman.
Bailey, I don't know. Someone said Barry in the chat, and that mixed me up.
Love this. And then, yeah.
Do you believe they end up... Okay, no, you don't want me to talk about it.
God, look at the rippling effect. They've been using this since, like, the earliest Disney movies to...
They really
get those water
underused the
effects.
sisters in this movie.
Well, like I said, we got our musical number with them, and that was their service to the plot. They sang, like, about... They sang their names and about how their father loves them, and then Ariel doesn't show up to the concert. It shows how opposite that they are.
Okay.
They're very duty-bound, and Ariel's, like, very flighty and, off in her own world.
So, dude, shortly after we confessed to each other, this was pretty much how I was.
You think
like I was in this Clown 9 phase.
You too?
Yeah. I didn't pick flowers, but...
Neither did I. I spent a lot of time indoors. But I felt like I couldn't feel
like,
the floor underneath me a lot.
Definitely a lot of teenagers can relate to... Or anybody experiencing first love can relate to this.
Yeah.
A big first crush.
Yep. Whoa. That's a great line as well.
I mean, she was planning to, like, talk to him normally.
And here he goes. Like, you know what? You can't just be like this. And honestly, it's not just him trying to convince her. It's that he believes this is true. Like,
there's the Oscar winner.
The ocean. And the Oscar winner for Best Original Song, yeah. I love the way Ariel's just constantly smirking at him like, oh, yeah, sure, Sebastian, uh-huh.
Yeah, now, what I was saying about Sebastian is that he has some of the most lively moments, but he's also one of the stiffest characters, which makes him so interesting.
Yeah. So when we
finally he does know how to have fun, but he's also a stickler to the rules.
Yes. It's like, and this whole song really conveys those feelings that he has. Like, what would you have on the surface that's so dangerous when everything is so great and beautiful down here? It's like being off in our own world is, just a lot better. And look at the lives of these, miserable, fish on the land.
Okay, nobody can sing this song like Samuel E. Wright.
Nope.
Although I think the Broadway, for being on stage, I think they pulled that off pretty well.
I mean, you could probably say that for a lot of the Broadway Disney musicals, like even Aladdin and Lion King. And Beauty and the Beast was also a Broadway musical as well. Oh,
no.
I never really noticed that there were eyes in that clam for the longest time. Ooh. I just noticed that just now.
That snail moment always sticks with you.
This snail moment sticks with me just because it's overly shaded. I just feel like they didn't need to shade that. It's just a bit much.
I want to go on the right again.
Yeah. And here's the Howard Ashman lists. He's played the bass and they sound and shop. He just writes lyrics that are lists. Just lyrics that are lists. Love the fluke in the ride, just like sitting there.
You did say that.
And ouch. Funny enough, the designer of all these characters for the sequence was on Twitter. When he put that one up, someone asked, "Were there ever concerns about that design?" And he said, "We felt we were being respectful at the time, but I can definitely see how it would be a problem like now."
Like I said, the late earlys and the 90s were an interesting time.
I mean, this racist shit was still going on up until, like, 2009. And not necessarily black racism, but, like, there was still racism in media, you know, it just
Cultural
kept going.
insensitivity.
Which is racism.
Yeah.
It's like, it may not be intentional, but it's definitely there. Seeing a lot of celluloid drop shadow around this sequence, just because of all the layers.
Me trying not to sing along and totally messing up the stream.
Love that little guy. And all the bubbles in the background are just really pretty. We've moved from, like, the shadowy to this big, bright, and golden environment, and then back to the blue.
And she's gone. I didn't even get to say how part of your world actually helped me land a gig while we were in Romania.
Oh, yeah?
I was singing Part of Your World in French for a talent show, and I ended up winning. And then at this local arts school, they were doing, like, all these songs from different cultures, and for America, they were doing Disney songs, which included Little Mermaid. And after they did this whole, the dancing class did this whole Under the Sea thing, they had me come out and sing Part of Your World.
Nice. I love this.
Yeah, there was this girl who was dressed in Sebastian attire and just kind of like swimming around me.
It's like, it's about Ariel. It's like, the king wants to see you right away. The little page seahorse. He's not in it a lot, but I really like him. He's really cute. I love oh my god, it's bubbles instead of fire in those, like, a little squeak. How many of us have ever not noticed that the fire in the torches over there is actually just bubbles, and that's what it's supposed to represent? Like, that's really interesting. I've never really paid. It's the little
20
details.
years of watching this movie, and there's always new things I notice.
Yeah.
Always something new.
Oh god. And it's like, they think the other is talking about something. Oh boy. Oh boy.
You know, there's kind of a little queer stuff in here too. It's like,
yep.
He assumes it's a merman.
Yeah. Oh boy.
He's really excited about his little one being in love.
Yeah. Not for much longer though. And that's kind of Muppety as well, with his head stretching way up and down. He's just whenever they draw Sebastian's big goofy grin when he's got that nervous smile, it's just so funny with the teeth and everything.
And here comes the statue part.
Flounder looking kind of Pinocchio.
I
with the
do
way his
wonder
eyes are
how he
drawn.
got this in the cave though.
He probably, like, you know, it's like, he probably went and, like, recruited some of his, like, the thing is, we never really know about Flounder's other buddies. Like, I think the Little Mermaid Ariel's beginning made clear that Flounder had other friends.
If you assume Ariel's beginning, because the TV series had them meet when she was like 12.
But even barring all that, he probably has other friends, and he's like, he probably got a few octopi to bring it in here. It's like, we always just, like, so many people assume that Flounder brought it in himself. I mean, hell, it could have fallen in here on its own. Because remember, the ship was over her grotto initially. And then the waves tossed it around in the same area, so...
To be fair, Ariel, you don't know him either. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you lose a point on that one.
It is true. And
everyone noticed the little reference I put in there when Scribble went, Daddy, I love him!
Dad,
no.
I don't care. That's very much what an emotional teenager would say. You know, not thinking clearly and with her head in the clouds. And the thing is, she always has her head in the clouds. This isn't a new thing spurred on by having a crush on Eric. She's always been scatterbrained. She's a little autistic. She's definitely got this... She's definitely got her own fixations, like, and that fixation is the human stuff. It's just so interesting to her, and God.
Okay, and this one right here. Yeah, this is what sets parents like Triton apart from parental figures like Mother Gothel and Frollo. Actual remorse in their actions when they get there on their hardest.
He really thought he was doing what's best for her, and then seeing her torn up, he's like, he needs to leave before he second guesses himself, because...
And you know, there are parents who, like, in a moment of rage will do something they regret. Like, maybe not always as extreme, but maybe like shout at their kid to the point they cry.
Yeah. And look at Ursula.
It doesn't necessarily make them bad parents, but made a bad choice in a certain moment.
Yeah. And look at Ursula and her minions taking advantage of an emotionally vulnerable teenager.
I really want to sing, "Sweet child, poor child."
And I'm noticing that their eyes are actually, like, moving, the yellow eyes, but in some of the previous shots, their yellow eyes were actually, like, kind of, like, dead and, like, just facing one off direction. It was like, honestly, probably would have been more interesting if they kept it at, like, the wall light, like, only one of their eyes works, and that's why there's that one yellow eye on each of them. I mean, I guess they could still be half blind. That could still be a thing.
Of course, there are cases where some parents go to this extreme. Of course. I'm just...
She initially was like, no, not the sea witch, and then they do this. It was deliberate. They kicked that thing in her direction on purpose.
Okay, you're right. There are parents who will go to that extreme. Did I tell you there was once a time where my mom accidentally punched through my door?
I think you mentioned that.
It was like it had glass panes. I don't even remember what it was about, but like I locked the door and my mom's like, open the door, and they just like punch. But then like the second she did it, I'm like, honey, she calls to dad like, I punched through the glass. Like right after she did that, she's like, oh geez.
Whoops. Also, love that whole bit of like, why don't you just go tell my father you're good at that? It's like, damn, Ariel, like I get that you're very mad. Also, are these the bones of a giant fish with coral growing out of it? Because it looks like the bones of a giant fish with coral growing out of it.
Yeah, there are moments Ariel hesitates, you're right.
Look at that hesitation. You can see it's like, last chance to back out. No.
Okay, I know.
My father really doesn't
you don't like the live action, but would you believe they made this whole thing more terrifying in the live action?
Easily.
It's not plants. It's just straight up bones, mermaid skeletons.
Oh, that's worse.
And Ursula playing with skulls. I'm like, how did you make it scarier? You know what? I'd be questioning, how the hell do you know all this, lady?
The thing is, she does. Just give it a moment. She does.
He's quite a catch, isn't he?
But the thing is, like, no, but it's like the eels mentioned the like poor child. If only there was something we could do. Like they were listening in, and then they told Ursula. Also, she's a witch. You probably don't question that a witch knows things.
She used to scare me a lot as a kid.
I don't blame you. Like, God, she is...
Just the movement of those tentacles alone. There are 6, by the way, and reportedly that was because they were just easier to animate.
Yeah.
Although, I could say that her 7th and 8th limbs are her arms.
Her arms, yeah. Which would definitely make her more squid-like in that regard, but honestly...
squids have 10 legs.
Yeah, they have 10, they have 8 legs and 2 tentacles. The thing is that those legs there that she has are not actually tentacles. We call them tentacles, but on an octopus, they're just arms. The tentacles are the long ones with like the flipper on the end with the suction cups. Kind of like Squidward from SpongeBob, who was supposed to be an octopus. Anyway, forget it. But like this song, and coming off of our other song being the I Want song and the reprise of said I Want song, love the lighting.
Yeah, it's really reminiscent of A Little Shop of Horrors with Audrey 2's, like, I can give you what you want for a price.
Yep. Love the, that kind of looks like stained glass behind her just a little bit. Love that. And the boobs. Fucking Something was awakened in someone when they watched this movie. She's still kind of thinking, like, maybe I should turn back, the way she's just not looking at her.
I do kind of wonder why she even bothers giving her a chance.
Because she needs to. Magic works in a specific way, and even she can only make it work in specific ways.
Or maybe it's to make it look like she's actually getting a good deal. To convince her to do it.
No, she said, I can make you a potion that'll turn you into a human for 3 days. But, like, that's all she says. Because the thing is, if she could turn her into a mermaid for longer than 3 days...
Oh, but she wants to get her soul. That's the thing. That's why there has to be a... So, like, she can't just take the soul. She needs to earn it.
Yeah. And then
this is an improvised line. That was improvised.
I love the way she says, in it. It's great.
Here is why you need to support your children, because if you don't help them out to follow their dreams, they're going to go to shady sources.
Yep. And this is the moment. See, whether it was intentional about the 3 days thing or if it was a necessity of the spell, the idea of not talking, singing, or anything with her voice is like, just, you know. Also, literally everything in this section of the lyrics is about, you know, it's about this whole, like, giving her
it's a villain singing
it's giving her bad advice that is even stupidly considered good advice based on teen magazines in the real world. It's like, what's so funny about this is that the audience is familiar with this type of language, and then it's like, oh wow, it's being sung by the villain in this intense way? It's like, good lord, maybe it's not that great. And it's like, you'll forget that, but it's like, oh god, I love the way Eric's face morphs into Ursula's through the cloud. That's just great.
Okay, so why can't she write to the prince?
Why can't she write to the prince? Well, let's go ahead and analyze that when we get to it.
Unless all she knows is how to sign her name. But, you know, she still could have written her name in the sand, if that were the case.
She could have.
At least!
She could have.
Yeah. How it should have ended. Like, well, how was I supposed to know she could write? When she signed that contract!
Woof. Now, keep going.
So the whole thing about losing the voice, what Hans Christian Andersen's purpose was it wasn't like a whole, you know, women should be silent thing. And, you know, it didn't even work in the original story.
Yeah.
But it's that feeling that you can't tell the person you love that you love them. It's devastating. It's torturous.
And ain't that how Ariel feels the moment she just can't tell Eric her name?
Man, they straight up had her all nude there.
Like, her all just drowning. They do it in that very, like, tasteful way where it's like they're very clever with their angles and their shots. And of course she gets to keep the bra, which makes it a lot easier. Honestly, I wouldn't anticipate any other movie doing it any other way. Like, ignore the fact that she's 16. Nothing about her nudity is sexualized in the slightest. And stop being weird about it.
Yeah, I never thought so. I mean, she's a mermaid, and you can't expect her to be fully clothed when she first emerges from the water.
Yeah.
Anyway, that whole shot where she, like, got her head out, I need to say this. So whenever in swim class, when the kids come up for air and they, like, throw their head back looking up at the ceiling, like, no, I don't want you doing it Little Mermaid style. We're not mermaids.
Nice.
Because one, that hurts. Two, that gets you going deeper underwater.
Look at her go.
And she got her bottom surgery.
Yep. Love this whole thing.
Yeah, you're right, Ryder. they do kind of fix that loophole, but yeah.
I don't think they do, and I know what you're talking about because I listened to the song, their version. I love the biting the lip there.
And that look on his face.
Even his G's mun isn't like G's mun. It's G's mun.
Yeah, if Sebastian or
little...
Flounder hadn't been there to hear the whole curse thing.
Yeah.
She would have been on her own in this.
Yeah. I'm glad she has like friends she can turn to in this moment.
Sebastian.
So I gotta bring this up now because of the look at that dumb droll mouth open agape.
Yeah, you know that. Yeah, are you gonna say something along the lines of, despite Ariel losing her voice, her character just doesn't suffer? Like,
it's not just that her character doesn't suffer. Everyone knows Animaniacs here. Animaniac Zinny to the max, and everyone knows Slappy Squirrel. Sherry Stoner, the voice of Slappy Squirrel, was the body reference for Ariel in these sequences. And you can see this just absolutely adorable little personality, just completely dialogueless.
Yeah,
and Sherry Stoner is responsible for that. It's just like so great. Ariel's inspired by his wife, including her facial expressions and quirks. Yeah, but her body language is all Sherry Stoner, like completely.
You know, her voice might be quiet, but her personality is still as loud as ever.
It is like, hey, Ariel, be quiet. I can't hear over how much you're gesturing and posturing.
And she's like, oh my god, I've never been chased by a dog before.
Yeah.
We're like, what do I do? He's so loud. Oh, but that was cute.
She knows the dog knows her and she knows him. This is fucking... Also, I love how brilliant this is. Max and Ariel see exactly what's right in front of them. It's so... And the biting her lip is just great. Love it whenever Ariel bites her lip. It's just really cute. Yeah. He did catch a glimpse. It was a very sun-baked, like, shadowed glimpse.
If you listen to this...
And you can hear Part of Your World in the score. It's great. No.
You know, they all argue that she gave her a voice and that's how she won the birds. Like, no, because look, her not having a voice actually wasn't.
Look at that.
It was an obstacle. It was an obstacle.
Max and Ariel both giving that same exasperated sigh because they know. Absolutely love that.
It's like, no, actually, her not having a voice hurt her chances in the beginning. You know, by that logic, are you saying that people who actually can't speak, that the only way anybody could love him is like because of the fact that he can't speak? That's dumb.
You could say that's dumb.
Oh God, I didn't mean like that. Oh boy, I walked right into that one. I'm sorry.
You really did.
Stupid. That's stupid.
Anyway. We don't appreciate Carlotta enough. We stand Carlotta in this household.
That actress appears a lot more in future movies. The most recent I can think of is Wreck-It Ralph. She's one of the Nicelanders.
She was the one who made the cake, yeah.
Oh, I did not know that.
Everyone's still all invested in his love life.
Okay, you know, I bet people wondering why did the laundry go into the kitchen, but actually there was a cut sequence where he didn't initially land in the kitchen. He went through this whole thing before finally landing in the kitchen. So that whole thing is because of a cut scene.
Yep.
You know, he's also hung up on that girl, not realizing that it's the girl that...
Yep. It's
okay, now, this dress here...
It's like two ships passing in the night.
This dress here, it's actually a combination of the three gowns of Snow White, Cinderella, and Aurora.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Like from the puff sleeves.
The puff sleeves from Snow White, the longer sleeves themselves from like Aurora, and then the cut open like frills and like poofy skirt from Cinderella, definitely.
Now see, her personality's as loud as ever. She's like, oh.
Also, animation
awkward.
could only have her be so quick to put that fork down the way she did. It's just so funny. That is
probably one of the few moments of smoking I approve.
That's a very beautiful freaking like painting right there.
Oh. No, there was a line said in the Broadway show where Eric says, most princesses who come to dinner, they're just so boring. But you don't even talk and you're just off the walls.
That like describes this great... Oh, God.
Rene Auberjois.
God rest his soul.
If I were to compare this to any song in Little Shop of Horrors, it would be the dentist one.
Probably.
Kind of sadistic.
The sadistic guy who just loves what he does.
Yeah, it was admittedly my least favorite of these songs when I was little.
And this is one of those things that happens in a lot of these I love that lyric.
And they make it look like a horror movie.
A horror show, especially when we're seeing it from Sebastian's. When we see it from Sebastian's perspective and everything, it's just, yeah.
I think actually this movie is one of the reasons I don't eat a lot of fish. I eat tuna and fish sticks, but all this where you see the fins and the eyes, I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah, I prefer fish sticks as well. I also love his design.
Tuna and fish sticks, you can't see what you're eating.
Also, look at the way he's fucking animated. We get a whole like Tom and Jerry moment in a bit here, and I just love it.
You're right. This will kind of go into Beauty and the Beast territory because we got the French guy making food.
It's not just the French guy associated with food, but both this and Be Our Guest are based on a classic piece of music, like from their melody, just like directly ripped, and that's why these two songs sound very similar in the melody. Le poisson, he he ha ha ha. And then we just have the infernal gallop. Da, 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 da.
Yeah,
I love this whole bit.
Even Rene Auberjois passed away a short while ago.
Oh, God. Look at him go.
And he did a lot of things. The only other Disney role I could think of was in the Tarzan series.
Ah. I wonder how much of this was not so much influenced by Tom and Jerry and so much influenced by Disney's earlier...
Eyes!
Yeah. I wonder if this wasn't so much influenced by, like, Tom and Jerry, so much as influenced by Disney's own Tom and Jerry homage with the opening of Roger Rabbit.
Oh, yeah.
In fact...
You almost got yourself beheaded there, buddy.
I love... how flexible and bouncy Louis' design is. It's just so friggin' funny.
And I love the way Eric is just looking at her.
Yeah. It's like, she is pretty.
She's pretty and she's lively.
God, look at him go. He's getting so caught up in her beauty that he's barely paying attention to anything. Yep. Whoop. And again, the speed that can only happen with animation for that gag. She just wants to spend time with him, but then, like, because she's so caught up in the dinner walking up. I love that line.
Yeah. They don't really touch upon this in the movie, but, he's an adventurous guy. He doesn't want just, like, any boring, stuck-up princess.
That is true.
She is a princess, and she's adventurous, too.
Yeah. She's so lively and fun, and he sees that in her. Just, like... the way he made her laugh at dinner, and like, oh, look at that cute little moment there. God. He's like,
and she's still combing her hair with the fork. See, she doesn't give up any of her personality.
None of it.
And she wanted the legs. She wanted the legs.
She
wanted the legs from the very beginning.
I'm certain that Sebastian gave her an earful of his adventure in the kitchen, and a bed, not a seabed, but just a human bed on the surface, in the air. I like how Sebastian's like, might as well give you some advice on how to go through this.
Yeah.
Because
I'm trying to remember how we see.
He's a bit of he's a bit of an ally here. Like in terms of the queer allegory, like he's because like he's like you'd be miserable if you went back to your life under the sea everything was. Especially how your father left things. It's like. You're right. I'll help you find the prince. And here it is. Here's the scene everybody forgets about that really helps and humanize this moment.
Okay, writer, that moment, it's still in this movie. It wasn't really new.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there.
Yes.
This. When a character says something twice like that, you truly know that it was at this moment he knew. He fucked up.
Like I said, this is really more of a movie about a father and a daughter than it is about this romance.
Yep.
I mean, the romance is there, but
look at her go.
It feels less about that.
What is that? I've never seen anything like this. It's like she could just see this.
She had never seen horses. She's had seahorses, but not horses with
She
hooves.
may have seen horses, maybe like in a book, and then she's like, "Wait, what? Oh my god!"
Chickens.
Gosh.
They wouldn't have chickens either.
No chickens. Look at this.
Punch it, Judy.
What is this?
And then she's like, "Oh wait, what?
Huh?
That's not an actual person."
That's not right. And this gets her back. And this is the thing. Why doesn't Ariel just write to Eric? She's no longer invested in the falling in love with Eric at this moment. She's invested in all the new sights and sensations. Her scatterbrain wouldn't even think to write a damn thing. Where's a pen and paper when she needs it? She doesn't even know what to write on, furthermore. Right in the sand.
And he lets her drive.
And here's the... Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
This guy's a real gentleman.
Oh, God.
It's like, whoa!
This whole thing.
I love how he lets her drive. Those wheels were not moving.
God. He's like, well, I mean...
Anyway, what I was trying to say to Sebastian, I think Sebastian realized, like, okay, if she's going to do this stupid thing, I'm at least going to make sure she doesn't hurt herself.
Yeah. Everything about her, like her hair tied up and this black bodice, this outfit is why you kind of meet Ariel at Disneyland wearing this outfit sometimes, because it's such a good outfit.
And it's easier to move in than the tail.
Yeah. Though if you meet her at the Princess Hall, she's usually probably wearing like the pink one. Honestly, I like the blue one better.
I think she was wearing a more aquatic dress, aquatic colored dress.
Oh yeah, that's
maybe
right.
to set her
in
apart
Disneyland,
from Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, and also
when I met her last.
Also probably because it complements her hair better.
And Under the Sea, ocean stuff.
Off he goes.
Colors. Okay. The lyrics were changed to this, but you forget the whole reason this song is here in the first place.
Like,
it's not saying like kiss the girl, even though she doesn't say anything. Like, no.
Let's remove this from context and just sing it as a romance song. No, musical theater songs like this only fit in their context. And here's another point to Sebastian: he's invested in helping Ariel now. It's not just, I'm gonna make sure she doesn't do this stupid decision by herself. He's actively trying to help. You don't know why, but you do.
They also say Eric's a total idiot because he doesn't kiss her in this. Like, are you kidding me? He's a gentleman.
Let's hold off.
He's a gentleman.
Well, yes, he's a gentleman, and let's hold off for a minute. Let's hold on to that for a moment.
Like this moment here.
Yep.
It's like, wait a minute,
like,
no.
Like, we barely...
And he's like,
Yeah.
He's like, I can't take advantage of this. This girl can't give verbal consent, right?
She can't, like, what would... Like,
even though she's actively just really, trying to make it...
Yeah, does she really want to? I wouldn't know otherwise.
Yeah, sure. You can tell she really doesn't want to, though,
right
dummy, while she's puckering her lips right toward you.
love the facial expressions here. And again, what I really love about this moment is how, a break in the musical number, Sebastian is again invested in helping her.
He's a wingman.
He's a wingman. He's a wing crab.
You know, we get a lot of wingmans in the Ashman-inspired musicals, so I think about it.
We do.
You know, wingmen and wingwomen.
Yep.
And And it just becomes a recurring theme.
The lyrics here are very fucking literal. You can't take this song out of context. It's about a magic spell where it's like, hey, she'll have her voice back. It means she may not talk now, but she'll have her voice back if you simply just kiss her, you fool.
Hey, look, it's Ray's relations.
Yep. I wonder how they made it all the way to, what was it, Denmark?
Actually, contrary to what people think, this doesn't take place in Denmark.
What was the architecture of the palace based on? That would nail it down.
This supposedly takes place in the Mediterranean, which would have been more Italy than Denmark.
Yeah, but I mean, the architecture of the building of the castle doesn't strike me as Italy. It strikes me as a little more Western than Italy. Maybe.
What do you mean?
Like, just looking at the architecture of the
Italy
castle.
is Western.
I mean, like, further west of Italy. I don't...
You didn't think she was such a loose lips, did you? I'm joking, but she was kind of really pressing for that kiss.
Yeah. And here's something fun. But I'll get to that when we get there. They kind of love that transition with the shell to the moon. That was amazing.
I can actually play that tune on the recorder.
This is also an underrated Eric outfit here with the cape. It's a really nice outfit.
Oh, now that's...
Here's this moment here.
What do you say?
And I want to mention about that. There's a moment of want versus need here. Eric's I Want song is playing part of your world. Part of your world is also his I Want song without even realizing he wants to be where her people are because he wants her. And now he throws away his wants for what he truly needs to realize that the one he wants is right in front of her.
Yeah, and it's not like a dream, like you said, not a dream girl. And he sees her for as she is.
But
he sees her for as she is. She doesn't need.
Wait a minute.
I've
heard this voice before.
Just needs to be herself.
I've heard this voice.
Yeah, evil Jodie Benson.
I've heard this voice before. God, how fucking ominous.
Yes, and people give Eric flack for that, for choosing Vanessa. Like, did you miss the part where she put a spell on him?
Literal mind control.
Like, that part's not his fault. Like, what'd you expect him to do? Not get hypnotized?
Huh?
I can't always be controlled.
Love how hitched. And now she gets it. She's putting the pieces together. And also, people love to point to this moment because, like, oh, my hair is so dry and fluffy.
Yeah.
And the CGI on the staircase here is really nice.
Imagine how much different hair care is for her out of the water.
I know. She probably has to have those people who bathe her, like, help because, like, she doesn't know what to do with herself there. I kissed my crab in your honor.
And Ursula intentionally made herself look like a silhouette of Ariel.
Which makes sense. He saw her from, like, the sunlight, so her hair color was not known to him at all, so that wouldn't really matter.
Like...
Though, one thing I will love... Oh, it's brunette. I always thought it was black, which I think would be fitting, like, from, like, a checkers or chess piece angle, when you have, like, sometimes chess pieces are red, but checkers pieces are always red. It's, like, kind of a checkmate moment, you know?
I will say I do kind of don't like that trope of... it's the dark-haired girls are always the dark and malicious ones.
Well,
be like the blonde versus brunette thing.
Give it a cut.
I'm brunette, dude. You're brunette. What are you saying?
Give it a couple movies. We'll have two raven-haired heroes.
Yeah.
Hey, give it to our next movie. We'll have a couple of brunette heroes.
Yeah. Yeah.
course, one of them's brunette all over, but still. And here's a great reprise.
I wish they kept these words. I know they cut it out of the Broadway musical.
Man.
Probably because the transformation would have been hard to do.
It's not even a transformation, it's... Well, I guess here it's not a transformation, but look at that. That's beautiful.
I mean, like, when she becomes Ursula again on stage, it would have been a little difficult to do.
Probably. You could smoke screen it, probably.
Because it's not, I mean, it's not as slow as, like, the Beast transformation, for instance. It'd have to be really fast.
You could smoke screen it.
At least he acknowledges he's not always right.
Yeah. Well, shit, man. Oh, if there's one thing I know, it's how to swim.
Okay. Yes,
but I don't have a tail anymore.
Yes, and I can confirm it's very different swimming with 2 legs than it is for a tail. I'm a swim instructor.
Yeah.
And while I never taught mermaids, I can tell you butterfly versus flutter kicking, for instance, they're 2 different things.
And then, see, we may not know about whether or not Flounder had other friends to help him with the statue thing, but we know that Scuttle has friends in high and low places.
It's the Kiss the Girl friends.
That's true. Some of them are from the Kiss the Girl sequence, but then we got these seals as well, and the dolphins.
The dolphins. Okay. I won't see them here, but in the crowd you'll see, like, these versions of... Oh.
Musker and Clements.
Oh, God. It's still kind of there.
That's his knee, okay? That, like, I think the Disney Plus version is fully edited, but that is his knee.
Now it is.
Yeah.
Now it is. Did you see the original version?
No. You don't understand. They edited it out completely, but you look when, like, there's his knees right there. It was always supposed to be his knee. There was probably like an error where the inking
Someone
artist
put the knee a little too high.
Probably the inking artist forgot to draw the other side of the leg, and so they just painted it in full. And it's like, you know.
The thing is, he was actually taller in the original, and what you see bulging out of there is a little too high for a knee.
Well, it was supposed to be his knee, right? It's always been his knee.
No, they edit it later where it's like where he's on top of a bunch of books. You don't believe me? Look at the side-by-side version.
All right, I'll look at it side-by-side, but we'll get to there eventually. You guys realize that the whole, like, Towers of Triton's castle were just, like, you know, designed off of buildings that literally looked like that, and the one on the VHS and poster was accident.
And Max is like, that's her.
Yep. It's like, have you not been paying attention? Whoops.
Yeah, see? and when he realizes... See, and when she does get the voice back, she's like, oh my God, it is you.
I wanted to tell you this whole time, and shit. Love the Batman red sky thing here going on. Look at that outfit, it's beautiful on her, and God.
Ugh. I'm going to pretend that, like, her dress tore off somewhere.
Yeah.
I saw someone watching this for the very first time, and they were like, does Ursula have a crush on Triton? And like, no, ew, gross, they're siblings.
Also, she has very different things in mind for Triton. So, here's something. If the human, like, thing was transformation for only 3 days, Ursula and Ariel turned back at the same time, so she probably just put the same spell on herself, and it would only last for 1 more day. I'm just a
Or,
thought.
you know, she could have just called on... her calling on the lightning there was just her turning herself back. I don't know.
Maybe, but
Either theory's viable.
They did turn back at the same time. God, emaciated Ariel, just looking so sad. And the way she apologizes, like, she's... And he realizes he's already screwed up. What else could he do? Eric coming in with a harpoon.
Yeah, like, they give Eric flack, like, no, don't give this guy flack. He found out that his girlfriend was a mermaid, but he still went after her.
Yeah, even like he told Grimsby, I lost her once, I won't lose her again.
And Eric's like...
Ooh.
Yeah, like, they forget that Ariel and Eric are a team. They save each other.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be one saving the other. They can save each other.
But I think Eric needs significantly more saving than Ariel does. Even Flounder and Sebastian had to go and help him out there.
Yeah, because, well, Eric is brave. He's not invincible.
Yeah.
Oh, in this moment here, it's probably the most human we get from Ursula.
Love the fucking, well, flotsam and jetsam of their fucking little, like, shattered bodies.
Okay, so some CGI was definitely used here.
For the rocks there.
Yeah.
Now, did she waste away to practically nothing because this might be closer to what she was originally like?
Ah. Okay, fine, I'll accept that.
So maybe she is starving because her stomach is accounting for being this size.
I mean, bear in mind that Triton is the son of Poseidon, and if Ursula is also the daughter of Poseidon,
so
they're pretty much deities.
They would be sisters, yeah. Deities, yes, true. Well, Triton is. He's the ruler of the mer people, and he controls the weather. He's in a friendly mood today and all that.
Anyway, yeah, you saw how Ursula was just legitimately upset about her pets being destroyed.
Yeah.
We don't get that enough from villains when their sidekicks are destroyed or something. Angel legitimately cared about those eels and didn't mistreat them either.
And CGI being used on the bigger boats in this sequence. I love the back and forth here. Eric, like, may have gotten the first blow on Ursula, but Ariel got the second by forcing her to kill her little pets. And the final blow, there's give and take.
Okay, so
they
were originally gonna have this whole sequence going on like a silent film with like that piano time music. That was the kind I'm talking about.
Seriously?
Yes. I'm so glad they changed it. It would have been too campy that way.
It wouldn't have worked nearly as well. And then, here we go. And it goes straight through. And you see it go straight through. Love the anatomy of her skeleton, too. Like, that's just a beautiful thing to see.
And she takes that ship down with her, and...
I mean, I think that's more just...
essentially, she's...
I think that's kind of a reflexive thing, like when a spider's legs curl up when you crush it. So she's kind of hugging the thing
if you look,
reflexively.
If you look at the shot in the water, look! She was essentially... Look at that! She was just obliterated into teeny tiny octopus pieces!
To her own little pieces of flotsam and jetsam.
Yeah, that's like, it's one of the most brutal
God, what a
deaths,
bunch of
sure.
friggin' sparklies. Those were really
like,
pretty.
Forget falling off a cliff. You see the thing go through her. You see her in pieces.
And then there she goes doing it again,
here we
saving
go.
his ass out of the water.
Here we go. And this is why this is more about the father and daughter than it is about the girl and the guy. Mm-hmm.
Well.
Here we go.
Aww.
I love the song that they added for this, the little reprise they did.
This moment.
Yeah.
They reprised it in the score a lot in this sequence, and then they ended off with a big chorus singing it because now they are
here she goes.
part of each other's world. It's just
And
great.
she comes in a pretty dress, like, and now I'm complete, and now I'm with you.
Yeah. And they never
'Cause
said
the thing is,
they never said the wedding took place the next day. Just come on.
Yeah, that's true. And you know, the thing is, that was the whole point. Triton could have given her wish and turned her human at any point.
He could have.
And he didn't.
It's the thing, it's like he had to accept that fact that not all humans were as rotten as the ones who had done him wrong in some capacity. And
so this is why you've got to accept your children, because if you don't accept them, they're going to run away to somebody else who's going to take advantage of them.
Yep. Now, nowadays we have the internet and we can find good support systems when our family doesn't support us, but like
Yeah.
in
I
this
really
day
think
and
that was
age,
the vibe that Ashman was going with.
in this day and
with, like, all
age,
this.
with the stranger danger and the lack of an internet to turn to,
Oh,
God,
and the fact that that's the very last line, I
Yep.
love you, Daddy.
exactly.
And this, like, I'll take care of her, sir. I know you will.
And a respectful nod from Triton as well.
And you know that letting go and
Yeah.
the
And for a wedding gift, in a way, I suppose.
Is
Let's bring the
Get ready
ocean
for it.
up
A
into the air.
rainbow! It's a rainbow, people.
It's so beautiful.
Yes. Now imagine if they'd gone with the original ending of this story.
It wouldn't have been nearly as satisfying or adorable, probably.
Yes. And you know, if people don't know the original ending, which I'm gonna go through while these credits are
Directing
rolling.
animator is Andreas Deja.
Okay, the original ending, the prince married someone else. This other girl who had found the prince on the beach, and who we assume was the one who pulled him out of the water too. And the whole part of the deal was that if he ever married someone else, then she would die and turn to sea foam.
Joe Ranft.
And then the mermaid sisters, they sell their hair to get this knife from the sea witch. All she had to do was kill the prince, and once his blood spilt on her legs, they will turn back into her tail. But she couldn't kill the prince, and so she dove back in the water. Instead of turning to sea foam, she was given a human soul, became one of the air people, the angels, and there she was finally accepted. And I'm like, that is so depressing!
Yeah. Really,
I mean-
really leaning in on, like, Hans Christian Andersen's unrequited love.
Of a man.
Yeah.
Unrequited love of a man. Yeah, and of a woman. He was bi,
Yeah.
definitely. At least.
Bisexual.
We can't be, for sure.
Bisexual, lesbian, Hans Christian
possibly
Andersen.
asexual. Possibly asexual.
Possibly. Based on the
Hans
fairy
Christian
tale by
Andersen-
Hans Christian Andersen, and even more so than probably some of the others that they would adapt.
Yes.
Flotsam and Jetsam,
That
both Patty
guy,
Edwards.
that guy was going through stuff. Because I think he truly believed the only way he could be accepted as
Will
he was
Ryan is the seahorse.
was through.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, was through death. You know, Howard. Then we get Howard Ashman. There we go. And another gay man who gets his hands on this story and like, you know what? We can't end it this way. We need to give some hope that those people who feel that they're different, and because they're different, they'll never belong. But they can belong. They can find their own way. They can be with the ones they love, no matter how forbidden it is.
Oh, is it a different Will Ryan?
Yeah.
Also, you guys on Disney Plus are hearing a different music over the credits than we're hearing. We're hearing a reprise of Party Your World over these credits. And while these credits go, Chris Brook and Kevin Lima on character design, along with Dan Haskett, Andreas Deja. Are you telling me a queer actually coded this? That's Andreas Deja.
Yes. This is a very queer-coded film. And you can... and I hope I'm not wrong in saying this, but there's a bit of transgender things with Ariel here.
Oh, yeah.
She feels like she's born in the wrong body.
Yeah.
And, well, she does literally get bottom surgery.
in the most magical sense.
Yes.
Lots of people don't like how she just gives up her tail for a man. She
She
really didn't give up her tail for a man. she gave up her tail for being in that horrible situation, thinking that her father truly doesn't love her. She's emotionally broken, and her father was the one to break her. Sherry Lynn Stoner as one of the live-action references, and the other guy was a live-action reference for Eric.
Additional dialogue, Howard Ashman.
because Howard Ashman was about, like, let's back the music up under the dialogue. Arya, listen to me, the human world is a mess, so we can transition into the song.
Okay. You know what? Before the credits finish, I'm going to take a bathroom break.
Right. And while that's happening, I'm just going to say that...
Because then we're going to have to go straight into the next movie.
We are going to have to go straight into the next movie. So, yeah, as far as this movie is concerned, for all the flack that people give it, it's not deserved. Sure, the movie does have problems. Like, I definitely say that you can easily read how it is, you know... Maybe she fell in love too quickly, or like, oh, it's just a crush, maybe it'll pass. But I feel like when you read into things like Ariel saves Flounder, her best bud, her best friend, and then Eric also saves Max, his best bud, his best friend, I think those parallels really work to show, oh, think of what they might be together. Like, they seem so alike. And the similar, you know... Like, they think very similarly. They're both very kind of heart. And they're both very adventurous. Like, they're both very adventurous. Eric wants more than just being tied down and married. It's like, if I want a girl to marry, then I'll find her. I'll fall in love with her. So, yeah, there's that. And all the musical numbers. Like I said, as a musical, it is no wonder that it got turned into a Broadway adaptation as well. Because it's... basically got the perfect, like, structure for a musical. You have Fathoms Below. It opens things up with this hearty yee-ho vibe, and then bait and switch, we're actually going to be focusing on the mermaids, which we say in the first lyric, look, I'll let a mermaid be waiting for you. And then we push in with the whole thing, just like, you know, just absolutely. And then we push into, like, the Daughters of Triton song, which gives us a little vibe of, like, oh, here's his perfect daughters who always listen to what daddy says. And then Ariel is not there, which basically tells you everything you need to know about Ariel, even before you've met her. She's not very good with dates. At least that's the first thing you assume. And then everything all comes together when, like, she gets blown up at her dad about the whole... about the whole thing. And yeah, I think DF has said this before to me about The Little Mermaid, is that, like, we have one gay man in Hans Christian Andersen who feels his love is so unrequited that it could never be, and thus literally has to die in order to be able to ascend to the angels. But in Howard Ashman's case, he's like, I need to give hope to the other gay young men and women out there who can now have hope in this story about feeling uncomfortable in their own skin and that they won't be accepted. And of course, in the middle of the AIDS crisis, because Howard Ashman tragically lost his life early to AIDS, so giving that a more hopeful ending, yeah, it's just all the more sad, honestly.
Yes, because, I mean, why is it every time we gotta have unrequited love, it either ends in, oh, that person ends up loving you back in the end, or you just die?
Yeah, honestly. I don't know. It's just one of those things, I guess.
It's a depressing thought. We don't want to teach that to kids. I mean, you probably do want to teach them that the person you love is not always going to love you back, but we don't want to teach them if the person doesn't love you back, it's the end of the world.
Exactly.
You're going to start a lot of suicide rates by that.
Yep. But now, so yeah, beautiful movie, wonderful musical numbers, everybody. I'm going to start up some music so that we can take a quick break. I need to use the restroom. God.
Yes, we had mentioned the gay subtext in our Beauties and Beasts podcast when I was with True Sailor Comic, Magpie Pony, and The Lost Narrator.
Yeah.
Probably reiterate some of those points. Probably not all. We don't have that much time.
All right. Well, everybody go ahead and take a quick break. Get your copies associated. Get a snack. and I'll be right back.
Okay, we'll probably chat up some stuff. I'll probably have to avoid talking about live-action remake with Nathan. He really hates it. I'll just say it at the points. There are some things I like about the live-action remake, some things I don't. I do love Emma Watson. Yes, I hate the unalive the gays trope as well. Although I think from Anderson's point of view, it was really just, he felt that was his future. Guy was seriously depressed. He had a lot of stories which ended with people dying. I'd say a more hopeful queer-coded story from Hans Christian Andersen is The Ugly Duckling. Yes, the duckling was rejected by all the other animals at the farm. When he found the swans, who were the most beautiful, and he even said, "Oh, you are so beautiful, and I'm so ugly, you must kill me." Like, what are you talking about, bro? You're one of us. Yeah, and you know, people don't understand the whole, oh, they're just an ugly duckling, one day they'll become a swan. Like, no, you missed the point. The ugly duckling was never ugly to begin with, because he was never a duckling. He was a swan. And he just became what he always was. The thing was, the attitude was a problem that everyone else gave to him. The ducklings gave him attitude because he was different, but the swans accepted him because he was just like them.
I hope the song didn't drown you out too much.
Actually, didn't hear. Oh, I didn't even know. I didn't hear music on my end, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah. All right.
I was just saying how from Hans Christian Andersen, the Ugly Duckling was a better queer-coded story.
Yeah, in a more hopeful ending.
Yes, because he was never ugly to begin with. He became what he always was, and that was a swan. He found his family, the people who accepted him.
Yeah.
One day, people, you will find your people who are just like you.
Exactly.
And say that you're beautiful, just as you are.
Alright, gotta set up some stuff for my darling to watch the movie with me.
Yeah, Thumbling also ended happily. And maybe there's some queer... I don't know if that's really queer code. That's really more the story about arranged marriage with ladies.
Yep.
Maybe. I mean, maybe some people will find some... I can't think of it off the top of my brain right now, but... doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah. I mean, you want to you want to talk about, like, trans allegories. Like, people saw that in Jenny Wakeman from My Life as a Teenage Robot, and the thing is that the original creator didn't do anything with that, like, on purpose.
Either confirm nor deny, though.
He was like, I didn't intend for that, but I'm glad that people could see something so positive in the cartoon that I made. And so it's like, that's a great way to address it, you know? Like, it's like, wow, I didn't do that on purpose.
Now we're getting to Beauty and the Beast, which is arguably one of Disney's best animated movies. It was definitely the first one to receive an Oscar nomination for best movie. It did win the Golden Globe. It was the first one to do that. It's not even Lion King got an Oscar nomination for best movie.
All right, and now
will not happen again until Toy Story 3.
That is very much true. Okay, now
Or was it Up? Was Up before Toy Story 3?
Yes, Up was before Toy Story 3.
Okay, so it was Up and then Toy Story 3. Those are the three animated movies that got the nomination for best movie at the Oscars. Now, interestingly enough, while this is Howard Ashman's other major contribution to Disney, he did not want to do this.
Huh?
Huh?
Got some issues going on.
Can people still hear me?
Yeah, they can still hear you.
Okay, so, yeah, Howard Ashman did not want to do this movie. He was more interested in Aladdin.
That is very much true.
And yet, on his deathbed, And this was right after Beauty and the Beast was a success at the New York Film Festival, the unfinished version, and they were all visiting him in the hospital, and they got the news about how well it was received at the New York Film Festival.
Yeah.
And they said, Beauty and the Beast is a success. Who would have thought? And Howard Ashman went, I would have. After not wanting to do that movie for such a long time. Gosh. How do you have all that stuff open?
What?
How do you have Avatar open?
Okay, I think... Okay,
Yeah, he did want to do Aladdin.
Now, something you guys might not realize is that I don't have a proper copy of this movie. So even though it says watching via home media in the upper right corner, we're watching this movie all via Disney Plus. So go ahead and get yourselves to the beginning of it with all the logos and everything. Get yourselves at the start of the of the thing. Get yourselves to the start of the movie. Come on, get the movie.
Okay. This is Disney Plus version, so it would not have human again, would it?
No, it will not. So we're watching the original theatrical
You
version.
have to verify, because some people might be watching, like, on their special edition DVD or something.
Yes. If you are watching on your special edition DVD, you are going to need to, well, skip the logo and go straight to the beginning of the movie because Disney Plus has the thing, and watch the theatrical version instead of the special edition version. So
you can do that in settings.
yeah, it's on the DVD menu. You can choose original theatrical cut or just play the movie. It's like, or no, you have to go. Yeah, you do have to go to the settings to pick the audio for it. Anyway, because the audio track alters the movie. Anyway, so
yeah, because that's an extra like 3 to 5 minutes or something like that.
All right, everybody. So get to the front of your copy on Disney Plus. Oh, Blue Heart. What do you mean you only have the extended version?
Do you have the DVD? Because
if you have
you'd
the
be
DVD,
able to switch it.
You should be able to pick the theatrical cut.
Yeah, just go to settings.
Yeah, you had to go to the settings where you can pick subtitles and audio. There's the special edition audio. You downloaded it. Shit.
Well, you'll just have to figure it out. I'm sorry, dude.
You'll have to skip ahead a bit. All right. Well, everybody, go ahead and get your copy ready. We're going to begin with the modern Disney logo from the Disney Plus version, which also includes the modern Disney logo, according to Squad. Further back up the chat. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay. So, while this logo's going, this was originally Jodie Benson was going to come back and play the role of Belle, but Howard Ashman, while he loved Jodie Benson, he wanted a more European sounding voice, and that's why he got Paige O'Hara.
And Paige O'Hara's first credit on IMDb ever. Angela Lansbury had at least been on TV. But and in one of my favorite old movies, Danny Kaye's The Court Jester. But this,
Okay. And now the opening, Howard Ashman originally wanted to show the little prince being turned into a beast.
Yeah.
But the directors, they refused this because they thought he looked like a crazy Eddie Munster kid. Oh, look, there's Bambi's mom again.
Yeah. Never say that
now
there
this
won't be
opening,
some recycling animation.
It's so haunting. This is a romance, but there's also a little bit of a horror element to it that they do really well.
This won for best original score, right?
Yes,
it
and
had to have. It really had
Alan
to
Menken got 4 Oscars collectively from these 2 movies.
Yeah.
I remember how much he
honestly, I
cried
personally
when he got the best song one. He's like, I wouldn't have gotten this without my friend Howard.
Yeah. God rest his soul. And also, honestly, I agree with the directors. I think the stained glass window is kind of also, and David Ogden Steyer's narration is also really great. It feels like one of those classic Disney openings with the storybook. And it's like where you just have like the illustrations in the book, kind of like Sleeping Beauty, actually.
It feels like a fairy tale opening.
Yeah, and I feel like it really sets a tone, and it introduces us to the castle immediately as well, and brings like a personality to it.
Stained glass. It's like it's beautiful, but it's also kind of haunting, which works for this story. Woof. You just barely see this guy's.
Yeah, honestly, I'm looking at here on Disney Plus, and I feel like we see a lot of him. I feel like the original theatrical versions and like in VHS versions, like had his like because they were on film, they were a lot darker and they hid his like actual details a lot better, and you just see this hulking silhouette of a thing, you know?
Something interesting in both the Broadway and live action. I'm just saying this for the prologue dialogue. They changed it from earn her love in return to earn their love in return, which I really appreciate.
Oh, clever.
And it's not just a live action. They did it in the Broadway version, too.
That's very clever. Very clever. Now, the thing is, if you keep bringing up that live action movie, I will be slandering it because I do not like it.
Okay. But I'm just making a point that in both later versions.
Love the little propeller thing. We already get a hint that whoever else lives in this house has got some kind of an inventing kick.
But did you notice how like everything just brightened up the moment she stepped out?
Yep, sun's rising with the fairest of them all. Like she's the belle of the ball. I don't know.
What I always loved about Belle is like she's definitely our beauty character, but she's a humble beauty.
She is. There's nothing about her that's vain or self-centered. She's very polite.
Even her attire is pretty humble. Actually, a little more akin to Cinderella's original attire, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It feels like it's a tribute to Cinderella's look a bit.
Yeah. Love this.
Also, for those who don't know, we were supposed to do like this Beauty and the Beast mystery event last weekend, but because of the storm, it was postponed. I was going to dress up as Belle.
Yep. Also, I want to point out that, the CGI on the carriage, that's really nice. That's really well put together.
God.
Love all the different characters here.
Humor in here.
Are those guys just looking at a turtle?
This whole opening, the songwriters did not think they were going to be able to do this kind of opening.
Oh, no.
This is 5 minutes long. This is a whole group number. There's no way Disney will let us do this.
No. You don't understand. The thing is, I love how the design of this guy just so flexible. It's like, then he's got this, and now he looks like he originally did when she came in the store. He's very... The movie was done pretty quickly.
Two guys there, not the fat guy, but the other two. They're characters of the directors. The directors.
Musker and Clements, yeah. Oh wait, no, not Musker and Clements. The other guys, Bryce and something.
Gary Truesdale and Kirk Wise.
This is really great.
So here's W-I-S-E.
Here's the thing. We were talking earlier. You brought it up actually about how like Katzenberg wanted to cut part of your world. Ashman refused to cut it, and he was right. The Little Mermaid was so successful. So basically, Howard Ashman was given the freedom to do whatever he wanted with this movie. In fact, the production of this film moved from London to New York because of Ashman's complications due to AIDS and, the fact that he was basically dying. And so this whole 5-minute opening number that is our opening number. Yeah. This is the first song that establishes the tone. But not only that, it's Belle's I Want song, and it introduces our villain.
Oh, here he is. And we first meet him shrouded in darkness.
Even LeFou just says that right out. The inventor's daughter. So if you weren't paying attention to the little propeller with gears, it's like, now we've got like dialogue that confirms as such.
Yeah, So did you hear that? I forget his name, but the guy who does the voice of Prince Charming and Shrek 2, he had auditioned for Gaston, but they told him he didn't sound diabolical enough. And let's just say, but when he got the part of Prince Charming in Shrek, he did not forget that.
He definitely pulled off straddling the line of menacing and also just kind of a mama's boy. Whereas I think Disney made the right call, because this version of Gaston's more bassy and operatic voice works a lot better.
Yeah. Must be more. I gotta stop singing along. I remember Lin-Manuel Miranda. Like, there was this a musicians feature when he was meeting with Alan Menken, and they were playing part of this, and he's like, oh, I've always admired this.
I love that.
Can you imagine the
right
fanboying?
There. Like, you never, do you pay attention to the fact that Gaston climbs on the roofs?
Yeah.
It's great. And to bring back the fact that he was on the roof, boom, there he is.
Yes, I have met guys like this.
Thing is, he's all too real a villain.
Wait, there was one picture there, though. Unless he somehow missed it.
Yeah. Rude.
No, I've had these guys. They're like, how can you read all day? By the way, you're very pretty.
Yeah, what the fuck, dude?
It's like, are you interested in me or not? Because me and the books are a package deal. Yeah, definitely something that Belle taught me from an early age is how to say no. If you don't like the guy, just say no and leave. If that doesn't work, call for help.
We're building him up. I love how we're building him up.
See, he's so two-faced.
And there's the payoff. There's the payoff to that build-up.
I mean, those guys too, like, oh, I'm not interested, and like, oh, yeah, I'm totally interested in what you're saying, whatever you just said.
Yeah, what you said. Anyway, good lord.
And here is one of the best Disney dads.
Yep. Such a kind old man.
Like, he's a goof, but he's not a bad dad. He's a wonderful dad.
I love him so much.
I love how they're just so supportive of each other. But it's one of the healthiest father-daughter relationships we get from Disney.
Also, I love how she actually knows what tool he needs.
Yeah.
The whole, goofy goggles look is, a little bit of a visual gag there.
You know, I do love the song in the Broadway show, No Matter What. It's so sweet. You know, we're not odd, it's true. Everything could be seen. I love how he doesn't push for it. He just kind of asks, well, doesn't Gaston like you? Oh, okay, you don't like him. Yeah.
It's like, what about that Gaston? He's a handsome fellow. And then as soon as she says he's not for me, it was like, well, there's no need to worry about marrying anyone, because this contraption's gonna win us a lot of money.
Yeah, he wasn't pushing for it. He probably just thought, well, I know he kind of likes you, but yeah, okay, if you don't like him, all right. Yeah, Ryder, I'm trying not to mention the live-action version because he does not like it.
Let's be fair. The changes to Maurice were not terrible, but it does kind of undercut the whole crazy old Maurice angle. Because it's like, how crazy is he if he's not just the kooky old kook?
I'm going to go into it. I'm sorry.
Kevin Kline's a good singer. I'll give him that.
Definitely got the warmth of Maurice.
Kenneth Branagh. Kevin Kline. Kevin Kline was Maurice, Ryder.
Kenneth Branagh is a totally different actor.
Also, love the signs that say, Anaheim, Valencia, a bunch of places in California around the studio.
Wow, I never noticed that.
Yeah.
This part's just so cartoony. And this is a part that only works in an animated movie.
Yeah. Also love the moment when he's like, well, this was not the right way to go. This is your fault, Philippe. I was like, why are you taking... Nice homage to the Sleepy Hollow short that Disney did. with the branches and the moon. It's like, it's really good.
See, the interesting thing about Beauty and the Beast is that while it is a romance, it's a darker romance. Because there's love, but then there's that horror element.
Curse.
And Disney
There's
really
the haunted
did this
forest,
well.
Basically.
Did pay a lot of homage to the French, this like 1940s French version of Beauty and the Beast, which is also queer coded, by the way. It was made by an openly gay director.
You're talking about the one by Jean Cocteau?
Yeah, Cocteau. Thank you. I forgot his name for a second.
Yeah.
Like, somehow the gay people always get their hands on this story because it's just so relatable.
It really is. Oh, well.
Obviously, the original story wasn't meant to be gay, but somehow
like,
the gays always get their hands on it and make it work.
It's a reading that you can. It's like with Jenny in My Life as a Teenage Robot. It's a reading you can have of the story. But I definitely say Jenny's story, just being very Little Mermaid, kind of runs that way very easily as well. You know, just.
Yeah. Now I gotta say, why is it always wolves? Why is it always wolves that just appear out of nowhere? Seen wolves in the wild?
Because they're, you know, I think because wolves, like, look pretty gnarly when they're baring their teeth is probably the reason.
I never noticed that lion on above the door before. A lot of the little beasts that you'll see in the castle work here were actually early versions of the beast.
Well, yes, they needed something to chase them into the castle, that's for certain. But, like, it could have been...
Like, every time, because we'll see them in Frozen, too, just the wolves always being the driving force.
You know, wolves are actually pretty common in Europe, aren't they? Love this.
It's true. Jerry Orbach and David Ogden Stiers.
God rest their souls. And, God, the sad... the sympathetic look.
You know, David Ogden Stiers initially wanted to be Lumiere. But then they said, hey, we designed this character. Would you be interested in voicing him instead? I think it just worked out because...
It worked out a lot better.
Cannot imagine this movie without Jerry Orbach and David Ogden Stiers' constant bickering.
It was even funnier is, like, Lumiere and Jerry Orbach's pretty decent French accent is, like, much better for the character. Especially since there's this cultural expectation of Americans that French are pretty rude, so for the only person with a French accent to actually be the most polite is honestly delightful, and also probably a funny haha for the audience of the time. It's like, haha, a Frenchman being nice, man.
Yeah,
they're all
Squad's
so
like,
rude.
Lumiere is the only one with a French accent. Oh, that's not true. The Feather Duster has a French accent.
Oh, she does too. And she's also pretty polite as well.
Also this oven, the stove, or whatever his name is.
Yeah, that's true. They don't really give him a name.
I mean, you can understand English people being here because England and France are a lot closer than people think.
They are very close together.
They're literally a channel away. They're a boat ride away. Yeah, the English Channel.
And the channel, the one that goes under the water. The train.
I don't think at this point in time, though.
No, probably not at this time. God rest her soul.
Oh, Angela Lansbury.
I absolutely love how he's gone past the point of trying to explain it, has just accepted that these things are
I'll say it
people.
quickly. Chip was that boy was initially supposed to have one line, but they loved his voice so much they made Chip a bigger character.
That's cute. And yeah, I think they're revealing too much.
I think when they enhanced everything for the DVDs,
the colors were brought out a lot more. Because it's all done digitally, they colored him. Instead of, painting him flat black or anything like that.
Like, really, the first time you see this guy, you're like, he's just so Ugh. The way he moves so animalistically.
Yeah. See, that's great. You see, from this angle, you can see his teeth in his eyes, but he's, like, basically ensconced in, like, all black silhouette.
Ugh. You can kind of feel that, too.
Yeah.
Like, what? Yeah.
This is something.
Go on, say it. I'm ugly. I'm scary.
That's the same kind of thing they did in the casting of, like, Lion King, where they cast actors who could growl, you know? It's like, sure, they add sound effects on top of it, but the actor also puts a growl into it.
The fact that this guy just puts a wedding together, see what I mean?
I imagine everyone thinks he's
What title can
joking.
you get?
I imagine everyone thinks he's joking, too. See, look at that! They paint them all in black silhouettes there for that shot. So it's not like they couldn't have done so for the Beast. No one stages an impromptu wedding
yes.
like Gaston. Thank you, squad.
Another moment that taught me how to say no to boys.
As if he wasn't already
That face.
invasive enough.
Although I would have just not let him in. She's too nice.
She's too polite, yeah.
I mean, she still rejects him, but like, I wouldn't have let him in the first place. That's me, though. But literally, like, one time when a guy called me, and I don't know how he got my phone number, is like, hi, this is so-and-so, and I just hung up. Like, I didn't even want to hear it.
Yeah. God.
Like, I did not give you my number, and you disrespected her book! You put your dirty feet on her book!
Not the first time he's gotten mud on that book.
And you can tell what he really wants.
Yeah. Also, let's get to
she
Belle's.
puts the chair in front of her.
Let's put Belle's ingenuity here.
She put the chair between them, just very subtly, and
whoops.
that was quite a fall. If he went down steps and then into the mud puddle.
Give her some ingenuity on that.
Egg. It's not because he loves her. It's because, you know, she's the prettiest one. So, yeah, he has to have the prettiest one on his arm. All about appearance for him. Doesn't even care about her.
And here
does look like he went swimming in caramel. So, fun fact about her hair there. So, in the recording booth, Paige O'Hara always had this strand of hair falling before her face, and she had a habit of sweeping it back in.
Yep.
And
the animators would do that a lot in Belle, just because she would do that a lot.
And that's why I loved in Wreck-It Ralph 2, when they brought Belle back, that they kept that part of her animation.
It's like
taking the hair out of her face.
It's the characterization of her. She always got to keep her hair out of her face because she's always reading.
Here we are in the Sound of Music moment.
Yep. It's like the reason she builds to that like reprise is because Gaston just got her fired up, and she's just like, ugh, that Madame
I will say
Gaston. And then
one thing, you notice Belle doesn't get as big of a ballad as like Ariel. I was always kind of disappointed with that.
I think the real beauty of it, of her having so little to sing about of what she wants, is that she wants for very little.
Yeah.
She doesn't want a lot. Her adventure in the Great Wide Somewhere is whenever she reads a story. You know, it's like that's her adventure.
This is a major plot hole. How the hell did she know where the castle was? Philippe hadn't gone to the castle.
Okay, you don't know that Philippe didn't eventually go to the castle. Horses are very...
No, he didn't. He ran away straight back from the wolves.
Okay, but the
Philippe's
thing...
a plot hole they fixed.
No, because, like, at the very least, like, we don't know if the horse followed Maurice's screams, you know. And horses are smart, okay?
Even in the Broadway
horses
show,
have a
which
great
I
sense of
believe...
direction.
Well, even the Broadway show, like, someone found her father's scarf, and then she demanded to know where they found it, and so that's how she managed to get to the castle.
I don't complain about that sort of thing, because it's like,
I mean, also, it's hard to bring a horse on stage.
I'd say, like, the reason... Love the whole blah 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 moment. I like Lemon's answer. The horse knows the general direction, and Belle figured out the rest.
Maybe.
Because the thing is, like, all of this happened.
Of course, it doesn't explain how the villagers find the castle later. Everyone seems to find this castle.
I know why they find the castle, and I'll get to that when we get there.
But I love how Lumiere's being like, a girl! Oh, yay, our prayers are answered. Not even thinking about it. See, Lumiere has the idea before the beast does.
Yeah.
He's like,
the beast...
that animation of Lumiere, they're like, so that's what's going on here. Oh, here we go.
Yep, here it is. This is, well... the reveal, quote unquote. You know,
we still see him shrouded in darkness most of the time because he's a scary thing.
Yeah, that's true.
But his eyes are just so human, and I love that.
That was the thing when Glenn Keane finally settled on the design, humanized to see into his soul.
And this animation, he's like, wait a minute.
Like, do you...
He's like thinking about it, like, wait a minute.
What is this kindness?
It's like, oh my gosh, women.
Yeah, here's like what probably would have been the big reveal moment if they hit him in darkness a little better, you know? But it is still a nice shot. Like, I'll not deny, that shot is really good. Though I imagine the computer animation process system that they're using, that they're using like to make the shadows a lot softer, honestly, I think they could have done with a lot more hard shadows, you know?
This is definitely different, because in the original story, there's this whole thing where he steals the rose.
Yeah.
And then it's like, but I stole it from my daughter. Well, if your daughter comes to take your place, then I'll let you live. Has him go back, and then tells the daughters about everything.
Yeah.
and then she goes back on the beast horse.
Ooh.
Here, the dad's like, no, I'm not having this happen at all.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's like...
You see that, like,
I mean, the beast obviously doesn't start out as the perfect guy.
Yeah.
The difference between him and Gaston is that
I love the stammer there. It's like, well, you want to stay in the tower? It's like he's really just kind of making this up as he goes along.
Yeah. They said this in Therapist React. The difference between the Beast and Gaston, like Gaston's anger and violence comes from the fact that he loves himself, and Beast, it's from the fact that he hates himself.
Yeah, that's a really good angle to read that from. Go on.
Like, they're foils of each other. But they still kind of have, like, this Dracula-esque kind of thing with him.
They do. And I think, honestly, it really does help to modernize the story, because instead of Belle having to come to terms with this beastly creature has to come to terms with now his ugliness and terrible behavior is on the outside.
Sorry, now every time I see this, I see that meme. I must be a Disney princess, because I just cry in my room so dramatically all the time.
And here's
They all do it.
And here's the same thing we did with in the last movie with fucking Under the Sea, where we just back up the instrumental of the song under the dialogue that leads into it. It's like Gaston is at a low point, so before he ends up singing at all, LeFou has to, well, sing him up. Because
before those homophobes cry out, LeFou's always had a crush on Gaston. That was always a thing.
Yeah. And let's point
he did
out...
it on purpose.
Yeah, and LeFou, with LeFou, like, why is he singing up Gaston? Because he looks up to Gaston. And maybe for other reasons as well. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Also, these are the French. It wasn't uncommon for French to take same-sex lovers. Not even at that time.
Yeah.
Even if they ended up getting married to the opposite sex, they'd still have
that animation
their
on the
side pieces.
on the swelling of his muscles.
Which is probably why LeFou doesn't care that he's gonna marry Belle. Like, nope, he knows he's still the side piece.
Hey, those are the director's caricatures again. At the table.
No.
No?
No, because they were like brunette and redhead.
Love. I think Howard Ashman, like, did that on purpose because of the way that animation really works for musicals. You can really more literally portray lyrics that you can't on the stage because you're limited by, well, real life. Bonk. God.
Yeah. You don't really understand that line.
Yeah.
Okay, I will say this was Luke Evans' favorite line as Gaston. I'm especially good at expectorating.
Don't blame him. It's a pretty funny line.
It's like, who thinks of expectorating as a rhyming? Only Howard Ashman. Yeah.
I mean, what was that one cut lyric that was used in the live action version? Who has brains
like Gaston? Who can make up these endless refrains like Gaston?
Who has brains like Gaston, entertains like Gaston, who can make up these endless refrains like Gaston?
Those lines were also used in the Broadway version, the ones you're talking about.
Because the thing is, like, Howard Ashman supposedly just kept writing lyrics and just didn't stop.
Yeah, and like I said, some of them were used in the Broadway version.
Yeah.
I think that redheaded bearded guy there is the one of the. I think maybe. We're about to get to a line that my dad always repeats.
Yeah.
You do kind of look unhinged, buddy. I mean, look at the circles under your eyes.
Yeah. The thing is, he's already the kooky inventor in town.
But yeah, those guys right there, those are the director cameos.
Yeah. That's what I was saying.
And here's a line my dad always repeats. The old Maurice.
Love the way he says it. And we're not done yet.
I do hate they cut this part out.
Good lord, they're being so mean to him.
You know, they do extend this reprise in the Broadway.
Cause the thing is, now Gaston has moved on from, like, you know, congratulating.
Let's just announce it to everybody.
Instead of congratulating himself now, he's now singing what he wants. He wants to find a way to marry Belle.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah,
I love that lyric right there.
Yes.
In fact, they probably had to cut Howard Ashman off. It's like, we gotta cut off this song. So Howard Ashman was like, okay, let's do a short little reprise, and then I can write this funny little lyric.
Yeah, now there's been a theory going around that Gaston is gay himself, and the whole reason he wants to marry Belle is just to have his cover. Which I believe.
There's always potential there. I don't.
He
I
really
don't
doesn't care about Belle. It's just the fact that she's the pretty one, and like, oh, no one could think I'm gay if I had the prettiest girl on my arm.
And he also wants a baby making machine, as he made clear in the house.
Yeah.
So, neither straight nor gay, simply in love with himself and wants a bunch of mini versions of him.
This was also like the first time they started, putting the blush on the female characters, I think.
Yeah.
No, wait, they did that with Bianca and
yeah, because they were using the same animation cleanup and color system.
Yeah, they'd like put little triangles on the rough animation to save for the blush.
Yeah, and then in the computer they would paint it, and then they would use a softening effect on it.
That was quick. Oh. And
this sequence is so funny. And it's also
he's such a child.
Yeah.
See, Beast is like we get the full development of his character in here.
And Mrs. Potts makes clear.
Yeah. Yeah, this ain't a Disney movie. Oh wait. I feel like that was Disney kind of lampshading themselves.
I mean, and the thing is, they're lampshading it so early on. All the bullshit that they do in more of the recent films, live action or otherwise.
Even Lady and the Tramp, the romance was kind of speedy. It was like a day or two.
Well, they're dogs. I think they're.
I know.
That smile.
That's what I mean. Like,
always great.
Here we actually get some time spent between the couple.
I think
more than 3 days at least.
I think at least. I think the course of this story takes place over at least 1 week.
I just love the way Cogsworth's eyes shift here.
Yeah, he's just yeah.
It's like
he's like well, very
and
very nervous.
They're all scared. They're all scared of him blowing up.
Yeah, well, there he goes. God, look at him leaping like that. My God.
I mean, if you were in this situation, you'd probably be scared. But also, he's so wild.
I love this moment.
It's funny. The way. Yes, thank you. If he didn't have these guys, he would have become a lot worse. So difficult, like. He's like, hey, see?
You can hear the actor saying it through gritted teeth.
I can see the similarities with Glenn Keane's animation of Ratigan and the Beast in here.
Because they're
with the,
like with the arms,
niceties.
The knobby knees and the arms going back like
the
that.
Hunchback.
The hunchback. This hulking
We'll get to
monstrosity.
Hunchbacks later.
Yeah, we will. This hulking monstrosity.
The season changed throughout the movie. Well, at least winter starts to come.
That's the thing. It's
we
like,
know if we consider the prequel canon, at least Christmas went by.
Which means that this would take at least a month. And honestly, that movie is really bad for Beast's character.
Well, consider it's like in the middle of his development.
No.
I don't know.
You don't understand.
Okay, fine.
It is really bad for his character. Like, he has a heart, but he doesn't believe he deserves anything.
Yes.
Whereas he's
exactly.
actively
like right
mean
here.
in the Christmas movie.
It's like, what is the whole point of this? It's like, she's never gonna like me.
Yeah.
He acknowledges that. It's the difference between him and Gaston. Gaston just never gives up. But Beast is like, no, this
It's
ain't gonna
not
work.
possible. It's just impossible.
This? Oh, goodness.
Very.
Okay, before people go about consent, they were
Burned
clearly...
by you before.
No, it wasn't a non-consensual thing. They were clearly doing their,
They were
their, oh no kind of thing.
Yeah,
That's why we have safe words now, so there's no confusion.
Yeah.
But we never see these other brothers and sisters.
I love how the hooks on the side for like oven mitts and like kitchen utensils is kind of like a French mustache.
Okay. You know what? When we get to the end, I really want to try to find his human version somewhere because we don't officially see it.
But yeah, I love how the hooks on the side are like a mustache, like a French twirly mustache.
Yeah. I mean, when we get to the end, we get to the whole crowd scene. I want to try to find the human version of the chef. We don't see it officially. Yeah. Even through all those stubbornness, you still have a tummy.
Wake the China. I love that.
Okay, so in fact, initially this song coming up was meant to be sung to Maurice when he first came to the castle.
But Maurice,
they had it mostly animated, but
Yep.
then someone said, I think they're singing to the wrong character.
Yep. Well, I
So
wonder,
like they changed a couple lyrics from like he to she.
Though I do wonder if that was Ashman's choice or if that was something for the directors said. But either way,
I forget who said it.
I think,
it was in the special feature somewhere.
I think it was probably like both. Like the director said, "Wait, does this scene go to the wrong character?" And then Ashman's like, "Oh, you're right."
And so like they changed some of the shots.
They
redid some of the shots, changed the lyrics from like Mon cher monsieur to Ma chère mademoiselle.
What's funny though is that they have this song in Mickey's Philharmagic being sung to Donald Duck. But they use both versions of the song kind of randomly. He calls Donald Mon Cherie, but then at the end of the song he's like, "But now, sir, eat up," and it's like instead of "Now let's eat up," it's like it's kind of weird. Why not just use the male versions of the lines that you have like archived? You have those.
Okay, but they didn't at least say like she to Donald Duck, right?
No, but they said Cherie, which is Miss
right.
in French, so it's like...
And it could have at least said Cher, which... With there's a masculine version of Cher.
The masculine version of the lyrics were like, tie the napkin around your neck, monsieur, Actually, funny enough, with the Donald Duck version, I think they use the gag from the original version where the napkin gets like, around his neck. It's like you can find the original version. The animation was like done. It wasn't like cleaned up and painted, but it was done.
Penciled at least.
It was all basically the whole sequence was ready to go to clean up.
Now there's this whole running gag here that Belle actually didn't get to eat much in this whole sequence.
Yeah.
And they make fun of it later on. She didn't get to eat anything in the other version either.
Yeah, they did. They did do that. Honestly, I think it's pretty clear that she is having some food when we don't see her, probably.
Probably.
It's like everyone makes fun of that, but it's like the song is focused on how Lumiere likes hosting guests.
Okay, so there's a lot of debate on how long the curse lasted, because he says 10 years.
And the curse will end in his 21st year based on the
It would have been 11,
the narration.
But he was clearly not 11 in that stained glass window. There's also the matter of Chip. And who would have been like, what, a baby? Or do they just stop aging? And also, Mrs. Potts is way too old to be having kids. And
honestly, I think it's one of those cartoon time stretches. And one of those things where it's like...
At least the Broadway version changed the prologue that which would bloom for many years.
Yeah.
So then like it's ambiguous of how long it's been.
Which is probably the better way to go about it. The thing is that they so heavily relied on 10 years in both of those lyrics. Like, it's 10 years since we've had anybody here, and it's like, so they did that on purpose.
Okay, also I gotta wonder, how many servants does this guy have? It's like every single silverware is alive.
See, that's the thing, and the directors of this movie hate that question. Because it's like, some things just dance and sing. They don't have to all be one-to-one human equivalents. It's like, the directors were, like, very frustrated with that question when they did their... Like, you can hear the DVD commentary. They just do not like that. It's like, no.
Scribe is wondering how often they sing this to human. Well, I mean, they only got their grouchy host, who probably doesn't appreciate these musical numbers as much.
Yeah.
Because he's so angry and self-loathing. He doesn't want merriment. They're like...
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Belle
it's obviously
is,
enchanted somehow. I remember telling my professor in the Beauties and Beasts class that I felt like Belle, she feels asexual to me, because you know how she like wasn't interested in Gaston, and the way she falls in love isn't based on appearance. It feels very ace coded to me. but then my professor's like, oh, but she's so flirty. Like,
yeah.
What? We can't be flirty? I can be flirty. Maybe not as sexy kind of flirty, but I can be flirty.
Yeah.
Like,
you certainly can.
He knows. He can tell you.
I can.
My own way. God, I just noticed that Greek statue of a lion head there. Oh no, don't lag on me now. Ah! Well, good thing I know this movie back to front.
Hearing David Ogden Stiers on MASH is uncanny.
Okay, now Belle, why would you do this? This I never quite understood. Like, every time someone's forbidden to go somewhere, they always go there!
See, that's the natural human curiosity in Belle, is that whenever we're told we're not allowed to do something, it's like, you can't help but be somewhat curious.
No, maybe some part of her just wanted to get, like, some small revenge on this guy who was keeping her captive. I don't know.
I mean, if he was yelling at her so rudely to come to dinner and then just tell her, like, fine, go ahead and starve. No,
she may also be curious about the whole enchantment and curse thing.
What is going on here?
But the way she's animated... I love her hair too. Like, they really understood how to animate hair by this time.
They really did it so beautifully.
Her hair is so much shorter than Ariel's, but it's still just, it's drawn really, really well. The way it just wisps behind her. Yeah. This sounds so weird, I know. Why have such a hair fascination in these movies?
There's a bit of a musical reference to the Dies Irae in this in the score here.
There's a reason that this movie, this and The Little Mermaid, they won the Oscars for best musical score. It's just every single moment. It's so memorable. Some of the score moments were like used for songs in the Broadway version.
Oh, actually, even the main haunting melody, bum, 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 like those first three notes are kind of like the Dies Irae, even though it goes up instead of down.
Why would you touch it?
She doesn't know what it is. Okay, now that's a shot.
This is probably like the scariest moment you get from her.
And the flat shading on the beast is really, really good here.
This is like one of those moments people cite of why their relationship and like.
She doesn't realize what she could have done.
How about you explain it to her?
And it was at this moment he knew. It was at this moment he knew. He fucked up.
Like King Triton.
Yeah, much
you know
like King
why
Triton.
he's angry though, because then,
like
then
King
he would have
Triton.
never turned back. These household objects would have never turned back.
And here's a point to make against that Stockholm argument. Promise or no promise, I gotta go. I gotta get the fuck out of here. Like, she doesn't care about the promise she made by Nell. Like, he fucking scared the shit out of her, and so she's like, forget about this deal. I'm leaving.
Like, yeah, it's like she has her limits. She knows her limits.
She knows the limit. She really knows the limit.
And here we get to the turning point.
You know, remember when I mentioned something, and I'll get to that in just a moment, but it's going to be a callback to the movie we just watched.
That can't be easy for a horse to get out of, please.
No.
Oh, that poor puppy!
That poor puppy is feral.
Oh, they always portray, wolves aren't this crazy. I have a husky dog. I'm a little sensitive about this.
Yeah, but huskies are domesticated, and a wolf. Let's be fair. They look kind of skinny. Maybe they're starving.
See
like,
here, her hair animated here in this whole sequence.
When it's unleashed. Oh, this moment is great.
It's like that moment of an animal protecting its mate.
And that's
they're not there yet, but it feels like it.
And like if the wolves are super skinny and are starving, it would make sense because nobody comes here into the haunted woods near that castle. No one goes there. And so the wolves are probably like feeding off of whatever bunny rabbits and birds they can find, and now they finally got some real meat.
Actual blood in a Disney movie.
Yep, let it be known that you do, and I think Puss in Boots'
now
Last
this
Wish
moment right
did
here
that,
is one of the best shots. Like,
yeah,
that right there.
It's not too.
Like she was. You saw she was about to leap on the horse there, but then she's like.
Not only is that shot not too dissimilar to the moment we just had, but here's the thing. So Ariel saves Flounder, and Eric saves Max. Belle saves her father. The Beast saves her, and in both instances, the Beast has this look of, wait, what is this kindness from this person? I can't imagine this. And then with Belle having run away because the Beast scared her, she's like, what kindness is this from this monster? Yeah. And the bite back. One of those symptoms of Stockholm Syndrome is that you will submit to the people who are your captor, and she's just fighting. He's just fighting him on this. It's like that
was like a full-on married couple moment.
It was such a married couple moment with the back and forth. If you hadn't run away, this wouldn't have happened. If you hadn't frightened me, I wouldn't have run away. I love that whole exchange. And then the moment where they both soften about like, thank you for saving my life, and they both acknowledge it, and he replies in kindness. Tony J, God rest his soul too. What a menace.
Remember, because these were the same directors as Hunchback of Notre Dame, and of course, obviously they remember Tony J.
They would bring him back, yeah. And this whole sequence being a nice homage to Honest John Gideon and the Coachman from
God,
Pinocchio.
you're right. You're right.
They're talking. They're like they have a bag of gold. They're in a bar.
I love how Tony J says like, well, Maurice is harmless. He's not a danger to himself or others. But
and then the thing is that this guy has no.
I love how LeFou's like, not this time, Daddy.
And he has no scruples either. And honestly, I think that's a pretty accurate depiction of asylums. Like, we don't actually see the asylum,
if you have the DVD, you know it's going to pause in that I love it spot for like a half second.
It is. Yeah, it does do that. That's weird.
The DVD thing, like, there's always that one shot that just pauses at.
And this DVD's trying to fit so much extra features on it as well.
Of course, it does take a span of like a few weeks or so. How long is Maurice searching for Belle in the woods?
Yeah.
And how long is LeFou just standing there?
Doesn't LeFou legitimately turn blue? like I said, I think
he turns into Olaf.
Yeah, but when he shakes the snow, yeah, but when he shakes the snow off of him, he's also just straight up blue.
And he turns into Olaf. Get it? Okay. Anyway, what you were saying about the whole saving people, yes, that goes back to what I learned in a writing course. Like, how do you get the audience to love your heroes? You cheat.
Yeah.
Have them do something heroic or something kind.
Yeah.
Or something impressive, and then you immediately like them. So even if they have flaws, like just have them do that,
yeah.
and then suddenly you like them.
Belle's pretty, and she's a bookworm, but what have we known about her kindness? But what have we known about her in her kindness? Oh, she turns down jacket. Yes, that was an
promises you tend to keep.
Yeah, that was an improvised line by David Ogden Stiers. It was amazing.
And this is another turning point.
Yeah.
Look, I love this. It's like.
And she's kind of
so
suspicious.
Okay, but like, he just acts like this giddy schoolboy with a crush.
I love what Ryder said here.
It's like, I'm gonna love it. I'm gonna love it.
It's like, you get that bitch a library. Bitches love libraries.
People don't realize how important this is because she had Gaston who like dismissed her love of reading.
And the thing is,
this is the first time someone other than her father appeals to her interests.
Yeah, the waving in her face was adorable. Yes, absolutely adorable.
I know.
And God, this room is enormous. She'll die before she gets to read all of those books.
So when are you gonna get me a library?
I don't know.
I'm joking. Well, mostly, but
I'm thinking.
You know, I love books at least. It doesn't have to be that many at once.
I'm thinking like one massive like boudoir for books specifically with doors and several shelves. And a
books I already have.
And a little cabinet for tea and china.
Like that's a dream. If ever I get a house, I'll have one room that's just reserved for books.
It seems
the thing is he's just a child.
And it also seems that the curse of the beast goes beyond just, accentuating.
It gives him some animal impulses too. And
he's
been like this.
Literally can't use a spoon because he's an animal.
Like, he's forgotten all the decorum, and even before he was turned to a beast, he was a spoiled brat.
And
remember that.
Look at this moment. That's a great moment.
I made sure with the change in bodies had to make some adjustments.
And here's our romantic duet, if only... Well, yeah. Can You Feel the Love Tonight kind of follows this template of a romantic duet as well.
You see that there's layers to him. That's...
Yeah. And she's like, well...
I wonder why you didn't see... Well, because he was kind of yelling at you, but sure.
Maybe try
so, that moment there, it's like just baby steps, right?
And
baby steps.
Aww. It's like
hey,
it's really
this
sweet.
Little birdie in my hand.
God, what a beautiful voice. At least...
I know, it's an innocent touch, too. It's like, she just... when we touched, she just touched his arm.
You can see the expressions on their face. Also, listen to this. The way she says alarming was definitely like, Howard Asher was like, no. Like, for the emotion, we really need it to be done like this. And here's the other thing. You can hear her laugh at the sight of seeing the beast. So it's like, these are their inner thoughts in the moment. And she giggles when she has that little laugh right there. It's like, it really contextualizes and brings it in. I love this whole back and forth there.
Yeah, remember what I was saying about wingmen? We get a whole lot of them in the Disney Renaissance.
Yeah, it's like Lumiere stumbles upon, like, we could see the garden or the library, and it's like, you have a library? And Lumiere will remember that.
Okay, if you've got the special edition version right here, you're gonna have to skip ahead a few minutes now.
I think what you have to do is just hit the next button on your remote, because it'll skip you to the human again, and then it'll skip you to this.
Yeah. Now that is interesting, because in that last second, they actually had them closing the door there.
Yeah.
Which was added in the special edition, because in the original we were still looking in on the fireplace.
In the special edition, they had the doors closing on them at the fireplace, but that closing the door on Lumiere Cogsworth, that one we have here is originally from the theatrical cut, like just straight up.
Oh, the theatrical cut, we were still focused on the fireplace. We were like,
no,
the perspective was reversed. Dude,
wait.
I'm the one who's right, because I have both versions on DVD.
So in other words, they actually absolutely fucked up which shot was supposed to go in this edit of the movie.
This. I love this.
That's great.
Stupid. You know, that's a special emoji on the Emoji Blitz. Him in that.
Good lord.
In that. Here we getting.
I'll get to my thoughts on Human again when we get to the end.
This is my dream dress. One of these days, like, I don't want like just a costumed bell thing. I want like this full ball gown, full yellow ball gown.
That would be really great.
I have a costume version, but not like this, where it's just full on poofy. And
his smile, that is probably some of the most genuine smile out of the Beast.
No, it's like he's so smiley and it's like he's turned into this bitty schoolboy with a crush. Oh. And look, he's like even just keeping.
He's still trying.
And you know, Belle's actually making moves too. Look at what she does.
Yeah. Come on.
Oh, and right here.
Okay.
Belle's pretty cheeky.
Yeah.
Look. Like she takes it, and then she deliberately puts his hand on her waist.
Yeah. Giant hand.
Like, oh my god. It's like, oh my god, she's looking at me. She's looking at me.
Also,
so nervous.
Pointing out, like, with caps, they draw the characters, they paint the characters now, and they put them in they are already in the computer, so integrating them onto this fully CGI backdrop, god, this shot. The ballroom is massive.
The iconic shot.
James Baxter, one of the animators on Roger Rabbit, he was with like Richard Williams' studio, so being able to do that, being able to integrate a character in a moving background is not beyond him, which is why he was given that shot.
But and there,
God,
the head
he's
fall.
Like, hey guys,
I did it! Look, yeah. Like so much character in that. You know, Belle's like, oh, I feel so comfortable and safe with you. And he's like, oh my god, she's leaning on my chest. And they're like, yeah, go get him, the tiger.
You know, the room may not be perfectly round, but dining here in the ballroom at the Be Our Guest restaurant in Disney World, it is very pretty.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I dined there too.
I had the French onion soup. It was pretty good.
I'm trying to remember what I had. It was a while ago. It was like 2015, which feels like a lifetime.
Right?
Any time before COVID feels like a lifetime.
Yeah. And he really has, over the course of this week, learned how to listen to her. Learn how to listen in general. He asks Lumiere and Cogsworth for advice on gifts.
Like he's nervous, and like she's adjusting her dress. She's really going for it too. She probably doesn't really realize what she's doing.
Yeah, brains are running on autopilot.
Oh. Yes, but it's like
And he's no longer growling. You'll notice he's very soft.
It's just so much. All the character animation in this movie, like from all the characters here, just so good.
Anything at all.
Or, you know, and how it should have ended. Or you could just bring your father here, like, as my guest, all my prisoners. I love you. Cool. Makes you wonder how long he's been wandering out there.
Probably a couple of days. Again, I think this movie takes place...
A lot, at least.
She's
changed quite a few dresses.
I'd say this movie takes place over the course of a week, at least. That's what I'm saying. Something like... He's got to be out there for like a couple of days, otherwise he would have been dead by now if it's been a month, you know?
Again, the animation of her hair. Why am I just so invested in the hair of these women?
It's just well drawn.
and look, especially just the way he.
And the strands falling. See, that's the thing.
It's so slow too. It's like he knows that she's gonna leave in a second.
That's the thing that hand-drawn animation does so well.
Oh, aww. She's like, hey, and ah! Look at my heartstrings, why don't you? Oh God, it's past midnight. Cox was like, what?
How? Just... Animation always looked a little weird to me.
Which they apparently just keep changing in every other version.
There's only one other version of it that came with the special edition.
I mean, they keep switching back and forth. It's annoying.
Again, they really gotta
pick one and stick with it, for goodness sake.
Honestly, I think they should skip. I think they should stick with the redone one. Honestly, because if they're gonna stick with a redone crocodile animation and just can't wait to be king, I think they should stick with a redone Cogsworth animation there. God, crying out.
And, they cut out
the
the sound effect of all the windows breaking, because then you see the windows perfectly intact.
Well, no, see, in the special edition version, they added a sound effect of glass and shit shattering when he roared, so that they implied that, yeah, see, look, he turned legit blue. Blue
and
nose,
he turned
everything.
into a snowman, and then he loves warm hugs.
And then he was also
it's funny.
And then he was also LeFou in the live-action version. The prophecy has been fulfilled.
That's, okay, I know you hate it, but it's still funny.
The prophecy has been fulfilled. No.
Imagine that, like, somewhere in between they have a little more of a conversation of what exactly happened.
Yeah, probably.
Somewhere, like, in between each of the scenes. See, Maury's still like the teacup.
Uh-huh.
Oh. Hello. You're a little creepy guy who needs serious time in the sun.
Good lord.
Oh, there are the director cameos again.
Yep.
It's like, is this just a thing of villagers like, oh, let's make an angry mob. Okay.
Good lord.
Maurice, you could at least pretend.
I mean, with Belle's likely height, the beast will probably be like 7 or 8 feet, probably.
Because, you know...
You can hear the indignance in her voice there.
Yeah, and, you know, this versus the beast. He did have her stay there, but, you know, he didn't, like... Was something else that, you know, in the original story, the beast asked her every night at dinner if he would marry her, and she always said no.
Yeah.
Then there was another thing Madame de Beaumont tried to say, that, like, he didn't do anything with her without her permission.
He just asked. She said no, and he was like, all right, I'll ask again later. Ooh. Best line in the movie.
She's just bullshitting, because he really wants to get this beast out of the way. Look at how Gaston reacts.
Yeah.
It's like, yep, go along with what I'm saying.
Yep. And if the beast is our queer-coded character, then this is,
Our homophobia
everyone
song.
who moralized the AIDS crisis. You know?
Homophobic.
Yeah.
Homophobic theme. Homophobic anthem. There we go.
Yeah.
I have people who will, like, like fight me on this, and and they're like, no, the Beauty and the Beast is all about this pretty kind girl who falls in love with a monster. Like, yes, and you guys are acting like the mob right now. No, we're not.
Sure.
It's like,
Look
okay.
how evil LeFou just looks there with his little face.
Like, admittedly, for a time, I was homophobic myself because I didn't understand myself for a long time.
Apparently,
I was also like a teenager and eventually grew out of that. But there are some people who are just like this.
So here's the thing, right? So like, when Howard Ashman wrote the lyrics "Screw your courage to the sticking place," it was like a Shakespeare reference, and he had to explain that to the production crew. It was like, what the hell is that? Screw your courage to the sticking.
It's actually impressive for an illiterate guy like Gaston to know.
Maybe he saw the stage adaptation.
Maybe he just he heard someone else say it and thought it sounded cool.
Yeah. Or maybe it's just...
Okay, now this lyric coming up, it really...
Like, what we don't
understand it. In fact, it scares us, and this monster is mysterious, at least.
Yep.
Put that, actually, to any marginalized group.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Do you see that the mirror in Gaston's hand is glowing? And Belle outright showed him how to use it. They're using the mirror to find the castle.
Okay, but at least they showed him actually doing it in the live-action version.
And they have the mirror, says Mrs. Potts. It's almost as if that's important.
Okay, so interesting thing about one of the scenes coming up here. Oh, here, Mrs. Potts is the one who tells the Beast that the castle's under attack.
Yeah.
In the Broadway version, Lumiere tells the Beast. In the live-action version, Cogsworth tells the Beast.
Man,
so, like, all three of them
everyone
in different
gets
versions.
a turn, I guess.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's the point I'm making. With
Take whatever
versions,
booty you can
character.
find. Gaston,
Yes,
1991.
booty as in loot. I do love hearing the Broadway soundtrack of this whole fight coming up. Hey, where'd everybody go?
That's also something interesting on the topic of Broadway. Not only was it a big deal, like Jodie Benson, Paige O'Hara, and like all the Jerry Orbach, David Ogden Stiers, Ansel Lansbury, these were all Broadway performers. Disney didn't necessarily cast based on star power at this time. They cast based on, you know, the ability to do well in the movie. The reason that Buddy Hackett probably didn't get a song in The Little Mermaid. He was just
I'm not so sure Buddy Hackett was a singer, even.
He was just a stand-up comedian, so he was hired because people knew him.
He was a character actor.
He was the character actor. People knew who he was. He was a stand-up comic.
You know, they'd worked with Buddy Hackett before on Herbie.
Yeah, that's true. But the other thing is that, like, with this movie, on the topic of Broadway, they got a bunch of Broadway performers for all of the main singing roles, like, again, everyone, and they recorded all of the songs like a recording of a Broadway original cast soundtrack, where where all the cast and the orchestra are all in the same room and doing it live.
Mrs. Potts really got downstairs really fast.
No kidding.
And over to the fat lady sings.
And it's still not over. You know, we never really got to see her human version either, did we?
I think you can spot her in the crowd at the end.
Honestly, I think he just hates that outfit because it's so hideously mismatched.
Yeah, well, Cogsworth has lost his marbles.
Also, love how the mob song is still playing in the score.
I mean, the implications that he's staring out her feathers are kind of scary.
And then Be Our Guest is playing in triumph.
I always love this part. It's so funny.
Yeah.
And they just run away.
Well, of course, wouldn't you? You'd think the whole damn castle was haunted. It's a curse. We gotta leave.
He's French.
And Cogsworth is British. He's like, F, no homo, Lumiere.
And he's just given up. He doesn't care.
Woof.
Now that gotta hurt.
Also,
I can only assume it didn't hit any
vital organ? Yeah,
special
definitely
organs.
not. Like, with how large his back is, yeah. Woof. He refuses.
Yeah,
Gaston must be
fallen even further into darkness.
He's either running on adrenaline or like that was really weakly attached there just from years of like.
Yeah. And look, you know, that moment I guess I was like, oh shit, I underestimated this fight, right?
And the thing is, you notice that Beast is now wearing a shirt along with his cape and pants combo. And, and he, over the course of the movie, slowly ends up standing on two legs. It's like a progression of like showing how far he's come to really like finally understand what it means to love someone and maybe earn that love in return, which is why he accepted his defeat.
You know, fighting out of pure rage and versus fighting for
like having him in all black silhouette, that was really great.
Yeah.
Of course it was to make him look like a gargoyle, but still. It's over, Beast. Time to die! That was the original recorded line.
I can get why they changed the line, because I feel like his look is like, you shall never have Belle. Sure, we'll let you go, and then you'll fall to your death. And this moment.
It's like, he's like
you're not a beast.
No. He's like me. He's a rotten, selfish, cowardly individual, and he's not worth the trouble. Like, he really got that look in his face, like, oh shit. He's really not worth it.
I always thought it was also like, no, I'm better than this. Belle made me see that.
I really think it's.
I'm not a monster.
I think it's.
I'm not a monster like him.
Honestly, watching it now, I really think it's like. Oh my gosh.
Oh, he was really leaning in for a kiss there.
Oh yeah. And more blood.
He was expecting it.
Everyone see if you can spot it in the split second for two skulls and Gaston's pupils. There.
Yeah, you could. If you really are looking for it, you can see it.
If you're looking for it, you can see it. It's like a white flash in his pupils. And if you're like, there's always been a white flash in his pupils. Those are skulls. Just pause it. Slow it down.
Oh, here it is.
Ah, God.
I can never not cry at this scene.
Because
no matter how many times I see it.
Because she was actually crying in the booth. And then the
and also just the way it's animated.
And the guys recording,
like, they really used a whole lot of shadows in this.
And
more shadows than the Little Mermaid used.
Yeah. And the guys in the recording booth were like, "Are you okay?" And she's up and like acting.
Oh God. Yeah, she's like, no, this is not how the stories end, right? Yeah. God, that big furry paw.
And how gentle he's being with her. God.
No. I think the base is the reason a lot of my characters tend to have really bright eyes. Like either bright blue or bright green or purple. Just so much expression in them. Okay, now this shot means a whole lot more now that these three are gone.
And that's it. He had her earned her love in return. When he was in danger, she came back. She said it out loud to confirm it for the audience, obviously. And then
I guess confirm it for the Enchantress too.
In a way.
Words have power. And again, the animation of her hair in this whole thing. I can't stop looking at the hair.
I think that hair has been like let down since she left the castle, right? Oh, no, it's tied up again. Wait, what?
No, it's just kind of whipping around.
No, look at that. It's whipping around, but it's also tied up.
See, it's whipping around.
Okay, you want to know something else interesting about this moment? All of this shading was done on Glenn Keane's like drawings, but the thing is that it was hard shading. What they're doing digitally right now is trading it out for soft shading, and it kind of makes it look a little off in a way. Which is why this big reveal shot, and I urge you to watch the original pencil tests of this shot. And it looks so much better with the lighting from the pencils. Then that is so weird.
It is such an it is so weird.
Seriously, watch it with the pencils and see the shading. The hard edges on the shading really make him look like a carved out sculpture.
Okay, but look at this. You notice how she's like feeling the hair specifically?
Yeah.
And then looking into his eyes. And that's like
because here,
yeah,
looking at him,
it's still
here's
you.
the thing, looking at him from this angle, he doesn't look half bad.
Yeah, but yeah, you know, she
like
wasn't like, oh my god,
you know,
you're handsome
actually,
now. But then she's like, wait a minute, but are you still the same? And then
actually
she pets the hair, and then she looks into the eyes like, yes, you do look different, but you're still the same.
Actually, based on that profile, he kind of looks like a prototype Hercules in a way.
Yeah.
With the chin that juts out a little bit.
Yeah, but I always love that, how she's not like just jumping onto this handsome guy immediately. Like, she's like, but you're so different now.
See, look at him. Now that he's not shaded weirdly, he actually looks really handsome. Look at that.
How would you feel about growing a beard? I'm sorry, I had to say
a cut line of dialogue from the movie, and probably one of the few things that I actually like that they put back in the live-action film.
I love that transition.
It's such a beautiful
Oh god, their kisses are just so passionate too. They're not just like this lip thing.
I love how
I still have yet to see my mom in that costume. At my dad's Lumiere.
I love that they basically had the designs for the inanimate versions, and then they just reverse engineered.
And he throws down the glove. I told you to do. And Trent and Maurice is living in the castle too.
Yeah. I mean, where else would he live? Now he's probably a royal consort or something.
Do you know what consort means?
I realized it when I just said it.
And that's recycled from
Sleeping Beauty. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking here. Okay, so in the left-hand corner, that lady in green, I think, is the wardrobe.
Oh, her. Yeah, I see it. Right next to someone who looks like he has the prince's hair.
And there we are, the stained glass shot. I have a journal that I got from Disneyland that has that on the cover. I know you've seen it.
Thought it was the Enchantress. Why would the Enchantress show up again, you know? Just to check in on him? He's already fulfilled his end of the, breaking the curse. Gary Trousdale.
Here's our start with the pop.
The pop
by
ballads.
Don Hahn. Don Hahn, I've actually met.
Executive producer Howard Ashman, because... get out of here.
Look what it recommends.
Songs by Howard Ashman and Alan Menken. It's funny, Angela Lansbury originally heard this version and thought, oh, I can't sing that song. But then Howard Ashman played her the demo and she's like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, and here was the start of Disney using pop versions of their songs in the credits.
Yep. A lot of people on the story, and to be honest, the movie didn't... Joe Ranft, God rest his soul. Character animation. Belle, the voice of Paige O'Hara, James Baxter, the supervisor, and all the other animators. Robbie Benson and Glenn Keane was the lead animator for Beast. And all
I'm really looking at these animators now, thanks to you.
Voice of Gaston, Richard White, and the supervisor was Andreas Deja. You're telling me...
Tim Allen? That can't be the same Tim Allen.
Probably not. You're telling me a queer really coded this? Jerry Orbach and David Ogden Stiers. Mrs. Potts and Chip, voice Angela Lansbury and Bradley Michael Pierce, and the supervising animator
that makes
for
sense
both,
if you have the same animation
because they're
team
next
on
to
the
each other.
Teapot and Teacup.
The voice is Jesse Cordy, and Chris Wall was the supervising animator for him. And see,
Hal Smith as Philippe.
Okay, here's something that
Tony Anselmo animated the wardrobe?
Yeah, he's an animator.
Okay. Did you see a connection between the wardrobe and Donald Duck? I never thought that I would think. I'm turning the music down on my end so I can talk a little bit.
That's fair. But yeah, no.
I mean, I love this, but I want to be able to talk.
Yeah, because like, what I really love about this, what I really need, is credits to do this. It's like when it comes to like animation, I want the characters, even the wolves were in the characters section because there was an animator credit. One animator was responsible for all the wolf shots, or for all the wolves in shots. And it was like, I want more movies to do that. I want them to list character. Here's their voice actor, here's their lead animator, and here's all the other people who animated them. Because I think we need lead animators on characters for consistency. Like, I get that CGI has made it that you don't have to be good at drawing the character, but honestly, I think it's kind of a bit of a loss, you know? Being able to keep...
They really went all out on this movie here. Just...
Kevin Lehman visual
development. I mean, kind of came from The Little Mermaid. Like, we could be more cinematic about this.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. Like, the Little Mermaid still had to use inks and paints and physically painted backgrounds, whereas Beauty and the Beast was able to Pixar, yeah, for the Caps program. Because if I said CAP system, I'd be basically saying computer animation production system.
ATM machine.
ATM.
Ant-Man ATM is machine.
Automated teller machine. End title duet by Celine Dion and Pablo Bryson.
Yeah.
And honestly, again, from a musical theater standpoint, we do feel the characters, we understand them. And we get a better understanding. I think I'd say, like, even though I made that comment about, oh, wait.
Yeah, here we go.
Go ahead and read it yourself. You can go ahead and read it.
To our friend Howard, who gave a mermaid her voice and a beast his soul, we will be forever grateful. Howard Ashman, 1950 to 1991. That guy was only 41 years old. That is way too soon. Like, he was right at the peak of his career.
God.
Well... Everything happens for a reason, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Aladdin would have been totally different if Howard Ashman had survived. Would it have been more culturally sensitive? I have no idea.
Not likely. Not likely.
Yes.
So.
God.
But yeah.
Thank you, Howard Ashman. You really were the legend. Actually, everybody who was behind Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast really contributed to
absolutely stellar
help saving Disney from its dark ages.
Very, very much. Like, and now on the topic of Beauty and the Beast, like I said, Eric's "I Want" song was playing part of your world on his flute, but having the Beast actually sing in this movie helps us get a better understanding of him emotionally. You know.
We don't get much of him singing in this movie.
No, but we do
get more of it in the Broadway of
True.
If I Can't Love Her is so awesome.
But I think the fact of the matter is the fact that the Beast does sing in the movie goes to show more of his side of things than for Prince Eric in the movie prior.
Yes, unlike some previous romance, like the only other moment I can think of where we get kind of the perfect balance with both the female and the male lead is Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah. Which also has a lot of fur in it.
Yes. And you wonder why there were a lot of furries emerging in the...
What?
Not really. I'm not wondering. I know why. I've seen the movies.
We all know why.
That were coming out at that time. Even before that, we had Roger Rabbit and yes.
Well, I mean, not so much Roger Rabbit himself, more like the Robin Hood characters, more so.
Yes. But I mean, no, because Roger Rabbit, it's like the furry and the human. And, but anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
But honestly, this was stellar to do as a double feature, and I'd recommend more people do it because these movies are pretty short, you know?
That's what the main thing I love about Beauty and the Beast is that as much as I love the fairy tales and I liked when the girls were at the center, this was the one that showed me the guy doesn't have to be handsome for you to fall in love with him. And this is one that took time.
Yeah.
And this was before I realized I was asexual, that every time I had a crush on someone, it wasn't because they were pretty or handsome. It was because of either something they did or because they were nice to me. It was something that happened over time. Like, in your case, for the longest time, I probably only got glimpses of you from your YouTube videos, but I mostly had your voice to go on. Speaking of falling in love with a voice. Oh God, does that make me Eric?
I wanna be where my darling is.
Yeah, yes. I mostly had your voice. People don't know that, but even during the Daughter of Discord phase where we were mostly just interacting professionally, when I heard his outtakes and all that, I'm like, this guy is so funny. And I would be thinking about something when you said something, and then you say the exact same thing I was thinking. Wait, what?
Or
obviously I didn't do anything. I was like, no, this is inappropriate. I'm supposed to be your director.
I don't know. I remember the one gag was where I was reading off the script trying to get to my next line of dialogue, and it was like, they lost the prince, and then I did that quote from The Lion King 2, and you're like, wow, I didn't actually. Wait, what? Hang on.
Oh boy. Yeah. Yes. But Beauty and the Beast just definitely appealed to me as a teenager more because, like I said, I love to read. Getting flirted with by guys who claim to like me, but then they just totally disrespect my interests. Like, how can you love Disney? How can you like to read? Well, shouldn't you do something a little more grown up? And oh, by the way, do you want to go out with me? I'm like, so do you like me or not? I'm a bit confused. and then my friends would be like those villagers and the silly girls. They'd be like, "What's wrong with you? Don't you why won't you go out with them? You're hurting his feelings." Like, well, I don't think it's fair even to go out with him if I don't feel that way about him. Like, what is there to
honestly
what is there to understand? I don't like him, plain and simple.
Honestly, no matter your thoughts on the Emma Watson version or whatever you think of it, this movie, this original animated version, is far more feminist than the Try Hard movie. Just saying. Just letting Belle be a right character with her own agency, and not being involved in romance that isn't even more so than Ariel is not her main goal in the slightest. Not even the first thing she's thinking about.
Yeah, although I do wonder because we don't really. I mean, we probably get a glimpse of it, just what is going through her brain in that whole ballroom sequence, because she was she was really making the moves there.
Think about it. At that night, and in the same night, she leaves and saves her father, and the townsfolk raid the castle, okay? So, at that point, she did fall in love with him, she just never said it, It was not up until the final moments.
Didn't really realize. Maybe she didn't really realize what was happening. She was just feeling comfortable and oh, let's dance. And I'll help you dance. And
it kind of took me a couple of weeks to realize. Oh, I'm so happy whenever you're around. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Now this night, it
took you longer than it took me. Let's put it that way.
Because for me, it was there was one Sunday where it's oh my gosh, she's showing up. It's I gotta get in the chat before she's gone. Oh God, I'm literally this ecstatic at her presence. And I'm you know what?
Maybe you're the Eric. I don't know.
There may be something there that wasn't there before, as it were.
I don't.
It's
someone was saying in the chat, so if I'm Belle, does that
Like the way
Someone saying in the chat is like, so.
Sorry.
Someone said in the chat, and like, so if DF is Belle, does that make Comic the Beast? Like, I don't think so. I think that's our relationship dynamic. Oh, was it? Like, we actually took that at which Disney couple are you quiz, and I think ours was akin to Lady and the Tramp. I'm not exactly sure how, but
I think, yeah, kind of a funny, crackin' wise guy who also respects the sweet and kind and adorable woman.
I don't know. I guess if I were to compare you to a Disney guy, maybe more like Kristoff. I think Kristoff. That's probably who I say you're the most similar to.
Well, we'll get to that when we get to that movie.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have some kind things to say to Frozen. I'm gonna have plenty of unkind things to say to Frozen, and most of the kind things I'm gonna have to say about Frozen are about cut content. So, but speaking of cut or not here content, Human Again. What are your thoughts on the Human Again number?
Well, mostly what I love about that is when they take in that scene that was written for the Broadway. Well, it was written for the original movie,
right?
And then they put it in the Broadway version,
right?
And then they put it back in here and kind of reworked it.
Yeah.
And which I think is a great tribute to Howard Ashman because it was the last song he wrote that didn't make it into the movie.
And of course, they had to rework it because they had to like animate it now, and they were like, well, how this works on the stage isn't quite how it works in animation, So that's probably why they, changed it around a bit. And it's like,
but
I love the homage to I love the homage to the farmer and his daughter like painting with Cogsworth and Angela Lansbury in the barn.
and
Cogsworth
having his little moment of saying that he's going to retire, like, far from fools make of wax, I'll sit down on breast checks and relax.
I love that.
Just Cogsworth.
So yeah, honestly,
love Cogsworth.
It's not a bad addition. They brought back all the original animators, they brought back all the original actors, and they put together
Before Jerry Orbach passed away, thankfully.
And the thing is that they did all this, and it fits seamlessly in the movie. All they really had to do is alter a bit of background art with the shattered mirror while Beast is taking a bath, and that was about it, honestly.
Yeah, it's a better addition than the Morning Report was to the Lion King special edition.
The Morning Report was abrupt and not as good as the version in the movie, in the original, but we will be watching that when we get to it. We'll be watching it on Disney Plus to make sure that we watch that version.
The part I love about Human Again is, the whole thing with, we see more of the Belle and Beast reading together, and then the Beast can't read. It's like you never learned? Well, I learned a little, but it's been so long. Well, here, I'll help you out here. And it's more building upon, Beast is taking it he takes an interest in what Belle likes, and then he finally admits that, I am not very good at reading.
Even Blueheart says that that's one of the best parts of that, and it's like, that's true. Yeah, even if you, and Blueheart, I think you'd sit through the Human Again number simply because of that sweet moment. Because, and the thing is that Human Again kind of allows us to because we don't really fully get, we know how Lumiere feels about finally hosting a guest, but we don't really know how everyone else feels about, being all these inanimate objects. It's like, they're kind of perturbed by it, but they don't seem that upset. But Human Again really gives us the impression, they really don't like being inanimate objects. They would really love to be human again. And so, and it is kind of,
I'll easily fit through that door. I love hair.
Love all of that.
Yeah, and
I love.
Even more.
There was also additional.
Even more with the reading scene, because you see more of Beast just being amazed by Belle, the way he's looking at her. Where Gaston had just dismissed her interest, he's just amazed with her passion of reading and the way she reads the stories. And and she's never gotten to share these stories with anyone other than probably her father before.
Yep.
She's tried to, but that's nice, whatever. Sounds boring.
I'm thinking, yeah. So, like, I think the Human Again sequence does work and fits pretty well. And if you wanted to watch that version, I would recommend it. They even, like, when the friggin' wardrobe comes out with the old-timey bathing suit and cannonballs into the fountain, and there's a splash, and then there's a new animation of a close-up of the wet beast before we cut to the bathtub. It's really great. It's so seamless. It's beautiful. I don't know if it's green and white, but if it is green and white, she's wearing Klimpaloon. Dang, 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 dang. All right, and on that note, that's a note to end on. Thank y'all so much for joining us for this stellar musical back-to-back. And if you're viewing this after the fact and watching along, thanks for watching. And until the next time, remember to take care, stay safe, and be kind in all you do.
And if some creep asks you to get with you, but totally dismisses your interest, just ignore them. They are not worth it. You're allowed to say no.
Exactly. Bonsoir, everybody.
Au revoir.
It's fitting because there was a French chef in The Little Mermaid.